Hello, everybody, and welcome to another CPL broadcast. Today we will be doing Week 10, and joining me is one of the league's rising stars and one of the league's best players, Dark Matter.
Hey guys, how's it going? Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. So let's look at the matches that we're going to do today. So first of all, we're going to see the full series between Jordaddy and Probua. Then we're going to see Pro Forward against Stardom. And the last series is going to be Elmaster versus Python. And I hope that Elmaster played on 1.16 this time, not because yesterday I was going to cast some of his other games and they were on 1.18, so couldn't do it. So we're going to have to wait and see and find out. But in the meantime, I'm going to set up the game. And how about you introduce yourself a little bit to the crowd, I
Sure,
guess?
man. Thanks, man. Yeah, these games are gonna be interesting for sure. I played back in 2009 to 2011 ish. I got to C minus, and I've always kind of like looked up to the players, especially like Rhett and Mondragon back in the day. So recently, I don't know what kind of stemmed it. Maybe the CPL, maybe it was like a little bit more activity for some reason. I decided to pick it up again back in January, and CPL was like the perfect timing. And I think it's just like a great league for all the players involved to kind of get involved and try to build up their skill level. So I'm really happy I did that, and it's just perfect timing for remastered and everything like that. So I think everyone that's kind of building up their skills and kind of getting involved in the community in one way or another picked a really good time with the remaster coming out.
Yeah, I mean, despite all the setbacks that we had early on in the league, from the kind of interim period between the fall and the actual league starting, and then with the 2 weeks of practice, I mean 2 months of practice time, it's kind of really did end up ending pretty much perfectly. I'm pretty sure that the remaster is getting released on the 30th in Korean. What are they
Yeah,
called?
PC bangs.
PC Banks, yeah, they're getting released on the 30th there, and I think that's also the last day for the finals. That's when the finals are going to be played in cast. So it's almost serendipitous in a way, the way that it's going to work out.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing actually because it's on the 14th, and I'm not sure, but I think CPL will be finished by then,
Yeah,
or be
absolutely.
very close to finish.
Yep. The
Yeah,
finals will be on the 30th, if I remember the correct calendar correctly. So it's gonna be right. It's gonna be like the last, I guess, tournament that's fully run on 1.16. I'm guessing, or at
that's
least
pretty
one of the
amazing.
last ones.
And I gotta say, like the 2 months practice time too was pretty awesome, and it felt like an appropriate amount of time too, for like all the team members to acclimate with each other.
True.
And I'm like super impressed that so many of the teams kind of stuck together. Pretty much all the teams have stuck together,
Yeah.
and that's a sizable amount of time, you know. So the dedication is there. It's an amazing league. So props to Elmaster and Laser Snipe for having it for sure, big
Absolutely.
time, and to you for sure for casting and making it an event. You know,
I
we
do my
need events
best.
in Boudoir. So
That's
thanks a lot. Yeah.
I appreciate it. Yeah, me and Laser Snipe, I was trying to calculate like if Laser Snipe were to pay me a salary, like how much he would owe me, right? So I was trying to add up like how many how many words I typed in, how many hours of broadcasting I did, and then I started trying to because me and Laser Snipe discussed the
You're
league
not
a
going to
lot.
unionize, are you?
I might have to make it a union of me
Oh
and myself,
shit!
but
Fuck, I gotta tell Snipe.
so I,
Fucking
I, I was
trouble
trying to
brewing.
what's called go through the Discord chat and grab all the like conversation that me and Laser Snipe had, and like I'm scrolling up, copy paste, scroll up, copy paste, and then like after about like 70 pages of Word document, I'm like, you know what, I give up. I'm done. I'm not even
That's
halfway to
insane.
January. Yeah, so it's definitely an uphill struggle, and I'm gonna make a post about that later when the league's over. I'm gonna put out some tips for people who organize tournaments and such, because I do think it's a great thing to have in the community. But
Even like keeping away from making mistakes, like in the stats entries and stuff like that, is difficult. You know.
hmm
So
yeah,
like even that like attention to detail is a lot of work. So yeah, props big time.
yeah, between me and Laser Snipe, I think oftentimes one of us makes a mistake, and then because the
Yep.
both of us are doing it, he does the image file, and I do the Liquipedia. So like between the two of us, one of us catches it. So mostly it's me making mistakes, but that's okay. um,
Yeah, I like the wiki. The wiki is really helpful.
it's gonna get revamped this week, so keep your eyes peeled for that. In the meantime, though, the first game is up. It's game name CPL, password CPL, and As it is week 10, the first game of all three of these series is going to be played on Fighting Spirit. The format is best of three. Loser picks the next map. No map repeats, or at least try not to. We had a series yesterday that was two maps on a circuit breaker, and then I think there was a match like 2 weeks ago that someone played on Blue Storm, I think. So,
Oh man,
yeah, it was interesting. But it's I think that's okay. I mean, like we're not real hard asses about it. But let's not talk about that. Let's get right into this game.
there's a division on Blue Storm too. Like some people love it. I
hmm
don't like it. The
Yeah.
pathing issue with that little gap already kind of throws me into OCD mode hard.
hmm
So it's not for me, but some people just love it. So that would have been a nice, interesting kind of divisive map to have, where some people would choose it. But yeah, we have a solid map pool, I think,
hmm
regardless. And we got like a foreign made one. I think
We have
Queen.
two. Yeah, Overwatch
Yeah,
and Queen's Bridge are the two foreign maps that we have.
yeah, yeah.
Well,
So very interesting map pool.
I when we were deciding the map pool and deciding how to space out the maps, I'm like, you know what, Laser Snipe, we're in this position where we're gonna have 7 maps and we're gonna have 10 weeks, and you have to make sure that no 2 weeks in a row have the same number of starting players, and
Ha.
no team has a buy on more than one of one type. So like no team can have a buy on both Demians or something like that. Like it was like it was a
Oh
nightmare.
right,
So
yeah, yeah.
so for him, it was major props to him for setting it up. But what I'm getting
That's
at is
complicated, eh?
yeah, we started on Fighting Spirit. That was week 1, and we're gonna end on Fighting Spirit, which is week 10. So it's gonna
Cool.
I think it's a really cool comparison to see where how people have progressed over the course of the league. So
Absolutely.
Let's see Jordaddy versus Probo right now in game 1.
All right. Yeah, I was looking. It's too bad. I should have prepped a little bit more. I was looking at Daddy's record. I didn't get to look at Probla's record.
hmm
Um,
Well, Pro
so yeah, maybe you could tell us a little bit. Yeah.
Sure. So in the top right, speaking of Jordaddy, he is the teal Protoss here.
Okay, and bottom right is Probla, also a Protoss. So it's a PvP.
Yes, sir. And one thing, so let's first talk about the players. Jordaddy, he joins a lot of my, well, he joined in the past a lot of these no hunters free for all games that I used to play with a bunch of the other kids. A bunch of like D rank players we would all play.
Yeah.
So he would join, and he actually had a lot of really impressive showings there. So I think Laser Snipe added him to the league, and like one day I was just like, wait, what? Like he just showed up, kind of randomly, so I didn't expect him, and then. He's a little bit of a trash talker, like especially in the NHFFA games, he talked a lot of trash to me, like calling me a scrum, and
Yeah.
then it's funny as hell because now I'm the coach and administrator in the league that he's playing in, and he's like, oh crap, whoops, so um,
Is he Peruvian?
yeah, they're both Hispanic.
Yeah.
I think he might be Mexican, I'm not sure, but he's Latino,
Okay.
but he lives in the United States. He recently moved, doesn't speak a lot of English, and
Yeah, it's kind
Probo
of not fair to bunch them all together as Peruvian, but that's my first kind of
assumption, yeah,
thing.
it's true.
Yeah.
And Proboa is also Peruvian, and so this is gonna be a Peruvian PvP. So it's a classic, something that I think everyone is familiar with on IC Cup is the Peruvian Protoss. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens here. Um,
Okay.
right off the jump, I always have to say the positional advantage here is goes in Jordaddy's favor for sure, and the reason for that is because the natural mineral line is closer to him. So that means that he has a much easier time harassing the mineral line than Proboa does. So if it does get to the point of the game where storm drops start happening, it's going to be Proboa that's going to be on the receiving end of most of those drops. So something.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, Jordaddy also has the difficulty of needing to potentially expand towards Proboa. So like I wouldn't expect him to take the third basin between the two of them. So there's a little bit of back and forth in terms of the positional play, but nothing too serious.
That's a really good point. Because, like, I mean, the risk with shuttle harass on the natural, you kind of got to guess where the dragoons are not going to be.
hmm
And I mean, you have a high probability of being correct.
Yeah.
You still kind of got to like, okay, I'm going to take this angle and then go and drop in the middle. Whereas, I mean, you can still intercept as Probro is the bottom right. He can still intercept with some goons there
hmm
on that third.
Yeah,
But usually that
possibly.
doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Usually it's more lagoons within the minerals if they already know there's a drop possibly coming.
Exactly, and both players can put the scouting pylons at that third as well, but it's a lot
Yeah,
easier for Proboa to deny those pylons there because it is, I mean, I'm sorry, for Jordaddy to deny those pylons because it is his natural third. Uh, I'm looking at the full map screen right now. Kind of what I was getting at with the harassment is the fact that Jordaddy can fly pretty much hugging the wall from his main base straight into the natural of Proboa, whereas for Proboa to get to the natural of Jordaddy, he would have to actually go like over the map or go all the way around in a circuitous fashion. So,
Yeah.
but interestingly enough, both players do manage to get the probes inside the enemy's base. I did see that Probo was blocking the ramp, but unfortunately it didn't seem to prevent the probe from getting in. He probably didn't have it on hold position, so that's something you definitely want to fix in your Protoss versus Protoss play, because information is so key in this matchup.
Yeah, it's interesting. I guess can a zealot block that ramp? Like,
Yes, you can.
yeah,
You
okay,
can actually block it with. I'm pretty sure you can block it with one Zergling if you place it directly in the intersection of the axis. I'm drawing it right now on my screen,
cool.
but if you take your cursor and put it at the top corner of if you look at Probo's especially ramp right now, you
Yeah,
place.
that's the more difficult one because the normal ramps, top to bottom, they're a little bit easier. You put them kind of in the high ground, kind of like 3/4 of the way up, right? And it's
Mhm.
pretty easy to block. The reverse ramps, you kind of have to. It's more like halfway. It's a
Yeah.
little bit different.
Exactly. If you take your cursor and you draw a straight line from the top corner down to the bottom corner, and then you draw another straight line from the left corner to the right corner, the place where they intersect is where you can put one Zergling or one SCV or one Zealot, and it should block. But if you're not using hold position, it's not going to block either way. In the meantime, though, I do have to
Yeah,
give credit to Proboy. He's keeping his probe alive for a really long time. He's seeing the robotics facility, and I think he must have seen the range by now as well. So he knows that Jordaddy isn't doing some sort of, like hyper greedy Reaver first, no before range to expansion Nexus. So he knows that's not happening. And in the meantime, Jordaddy actually threw down his second gateway as well. So it's going to be 2 gate against gate robo gate, I think.
yeah. So I mean, they're uh, barring like some unforeseen aggression that kind of breaks through something. It looks like they're gonna have basically the same thing around the same time. I do like the tech first approach of Jordaddy. I
Absolutely.
mean, big disclaimer for all viewers: I'm Terran, so
Mhm.
that's basically all I've been focused on for the last 6 months. But I do like that the range is sooner, the robo is sooner. We all know how powerful a Reaver is, and he's trying to break up the ramp now.
Yeah, I'm not sure I agree with this decision. He did manage to pick off that first Zealot, but then he got a little bit greedy, and I think, I mean, one of them is almost dead, but the other two are injured as well. But ultimately, it was a pretty decent play. I would have liked to see him maybe even stay there for a little bit longer, because it's actually really, really hard for Protoss to come down their own ramp, that little soft contain. You could have also,
Yeah, I think
go ahead.
like look at the number of zealots, right? Like I think he feels that he has too many zealots and that he'll be that's a little bit too vulnerable of a position with those just melee units. And with the goons having to go all the way down to reinforce, he probably felt he'd be outnumbered by goons pretty soon.
Yep. And
That's my take on it.
yeah, it's possible, definitely, especially when there's lower numbers of dragoons. It's because of the fact that he has to walk a longer distance. He wouldn't be able to reinforce immediately. In the meantime, though,
Okay.
we do know that Probo he threw down his support bay a little bit late. The shuttle's going to finish with nothing coming out of the robo immediately afterwards. Generally, what you want to do is you want to start your robotic support bay when the shuttle is halfway done. Then it should finish right around the same time, and you'll be able to throw down your Reaver immediately. And in the meantime, we see that Jordaddy's actually going for observers, no shuttle first.
Do you
Playing.
agree with that?
Uh, I don't know. It's hard to say at
Isn't
this
it best
point.
to have Reaver first?
Well, technically, if you are gonna make Reaver, you want to go shuttle, obs,
Shuttle
then
then
Reaver.
Reaver?
Shuttle, obs,
Oh,
Reaver.
Shuttle Obs Reaver.
If you're
Okay.
not sure what the enemy is doing, but I think he judged based on what he saw coming from Proboa. Like when he pushed up the ramp, he saw there was a very high Dragoon count. So then I think he definitely could have skipped the observer. There was a really low chance of Proboa going for DT behind that kind of Dragoon count. So I definitely do agree that he could have gone for the Reaver first, especially if he's taking a Nexus, which he did do now. It's going to be up before Proboa's by a mile.
Yeah, it seems like Probe was trying to play particularly safe. I don't know, like, yeah, I don't know if what he's thinking right now, but I guess that next, it's not too farther behind, but yeah, we'll see, we'll see. There's still so much that can happen, so
Yeah,
it's not the end of the world.
it looks like he's going to be aggressive with it, and I do like this move. He did have the faster Reaver, despite
Mm.
going Robo after his 2 gate. But the Reaver is out now for Jordaddy as well, with no shuttle though, and he does have an inferior Dragoon count, so this is all going to come down to the micro here.
Oops, I just dropped something. Ignore that.
Yeah, that was
Yo,
like
this is a big engage though. Holy. Okay, so this could be, yeah, depending on the Reaver control, he's quite
nice shot.
outnumbered.
Nice shot there, yeah. This Reaver, without a shuttle, the lack of mobility is going to hurt it a lot. He needs to throw us down some good shots here. Oh, nice shot from Probua here. He targeted the what's called the goons that were he targeted the back goon and it hit with splash a lot of them, but and now this Reaper's
Yeah.
out in the open is gonna get picked off.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that was a big hit,
Oh,
but it's not enough.
Scarab.
I mean, he's got
Scarab.
the high ground, so this is like
No.
it could stabilize.
Yeah, he's not gonna lose his. He's not gonna die outright here. He also has 5 gateways, so he's probably gonna be able to stabilize. But if this Nexus goes down, all of his advantage that he had going into this situation is gonna go out the window. And
He's done a
Probo's,
good job with getting the gateways up, I think.
yeah, he did throw them down at the correct time. Just that he just didn't have enough units just by a little bit in order to hold this. If this Nexus does go down, it looks like nice pickup
Oh
from
man,
Probo. That was
he's gotta stop this though. He can't let this go down.
Yeah, and it actually looks like Probo is changing his. He's not focusing on the Nexus anymore. I'm not sure I agree with that. He could have stopped focusing the
Yeah,
Nexus earlier, if he wanted
that was a
to.
mistake. Like, look at
Yeah.
it right now. It's 57.
Oh
Oh
my God,
man,
that's 3 Dragoon
like
shots.
that was a great attack,
Hmm.
but finish it. You know, like that was so close. I've done this so many times too, where you just don't pay attention to actually how many hits are left,
Yeah,
and that's probably what happened. Like, if he just focused that would have made the attack worth double.
exactly. He was also microing his Reaver against the Dragoons, but he kept shooting the Nexus with the Dragoons there. I think if he had committed to either one option or the other, like using the Dragoons to fight off the Jordaddy's Dragoons, he would have cleaned them up quicker, had more Dragoons left over for finishing off this Nexus. But instead, he kind of went this like middle of the road path where he first tried to pick off the Nexus, then he switched his attention to the Dragoons, then he switched back, then he switched back. In the end, he ended up getting pretty much neither. You know, he lost his Reaver, lost his Dragoons that
Yeah,
were there, and the Nexus is still up. I mean, it is vulnerable, so the next attack could be damaging, but looks like Proba might have had a little bit of a macro deficit during this time period as well.
like he's probably looking at this replay and like he's like, oh my god,
Dios mío.
yo,
True. Uh,
Dios mío.
well, now actually, it's Jordaddy, I think, that has, yeah, the superior army, and their probe counts are pretty much the same. So this actually is going to stabilize to be pretty much even at this point. It's going to come up down to the next tech, I think, and we do see that Probo is getting his speed upgrade right now. I really
This is
like.
so uncomfortable for me. Like, I have anxiety right now because of this health here on this next. I'm serious, man.
Yeah, I mean, you play
Like
Terran, you would just
he could fly a Reaver, like, up and
true,
around and just fucking snipe it, right?
true.
It's not gonna happen, but that would be like Mission Impossible type awesome deal right now.
Yeah, the Hero Reaver. I know that as a Terran, this will definitely give you anxiety because your command center is going to burn down, but at the same time you can repair it. Whereas the Protoss just had to sit there and watch the shields slowly trickle in.
Yeah, it's not as bad, right? You can actually do something about it as a Terran.
So it looks like Jordaddy is being a little bit patient right now. He's going to try to harass with the first Reaver. There is a Dragoon in the middle line, but this positioning of it, I'm going to pause real quick just to demonstrate something. This is actually
Sure.
probably the worst place to keep your Dragoon in this situation. Not only is that that means that the Reaver doesn't really have to be microed. Even if he targets the auto fires on the Dragoon, it's still going to kill a ton of probes. He might actually be even better at killing probes than if he targeted a probe and the probe ran away. So
Yeah.
the Dragoon back here is a big mistake. I would definitely keep it behind the mineral line, somewhere between the gas and the top mineral, and then another one kind of on the side here. I do like the fact that he has a
Is it
spot.
gonna prioritize the Dragoon? Is that what you're
Yeah,
saying?
if Jordaddy doesn't micro, if he doesn't target a probe, it's gonna prioritize that Dragoon, and a lot of probes are
Oh,
gonna die either way. And
man.
Proboa, he has no observer out behind his mineral line. That's something that is really useful a lot of times. Actually, wait, yeah, he doesn't have a observer there. That's exactly what allows people to react and send the probes back. So without the observer
So
there,
harsh. So harsh.
this is gonna be
Like
brutal. Yeah.
this is
And the
harsh.
probe transfer just came in at the same time. Let's see the shot. Yeah. Oh, he targets the probes, I think,
Seven
that time.
kills. And then
Oh,
at the front
two.
too. So it's two focuses right now. This Reaver's just going hog town. The attack's
Ooh.
retreating, but he's done the damage.
Yeah, that was a good distraction tactic by Jordaddy there. Absolutely well done there. I mean, Jordaddy did lose the bulk of his army, but unless Proba goes to punish right now, there's not going to be a lot that he can do to capitalize on it.
Is
Yeah,
he gonna counter? He's gonna follow through?
he
Maybe
might have.
aggression's good right now.
He might have to. He has a better arc, and Jordaddy definitely a lot of miss micro here. Reaver needs to be careful here. Reaver needs to target the Dragoon's nice hitting the clump there. And then the other Reaver's in. The other Reaver's really low on health though.
Jordaddy's, oh my goodness.
Ooh, nice pick off
This
of
is
the
a
shuttle there.
great counterattack. This was a good decision. He's got to follow. Let's see how far he can push it with it, you know?
Yeah,
With reinforcements. I don't know how far, but maybe you can deny a third with it. Who knows?
yeah, he has 6 Dragoons coming for the reinforcements, and Jordaddy
And that's a
GG's.
GG.
Yeah, the Zealots are out before speed, so it's definitely a tough position for Proba. I'm sorry, for Jordaddy. So in that game, I mean, it was very standard fare, I think. Definitely have to take some points away from Probo for not killing that Nexus in the first place. But he did make the smart decision, as you said, just to counterattack right away. Um, Jordaddy, I love the fact that he used the army at the front to distract Probo and get that Reaver and Shuttle off in the middle line. But he ended up losing way too much army doing that. Like, it feels like his own multitask suffered as a result of that exchange. So he lost too much army
Yeah,
at the front.
he had zealot. He had a zealot round, and he probably could have had, instead of that, 5 zealots, 5 goons,
Yeah, that would have helped him
and
hold.
maybe 5 goons halfway coming as well. So it wasn't end game, but he chose to make the zealot round. I'm not sure why.
I think it's because he
Um,
threw down a
yeah.
third Nexus at the same time, trying to capitalize on his advantage prematurely. You saw that the third Nexus got thrown down at 12 o'clock, so he was probably a little bit pressed for money. That's why he threw down the Zealots instead.
Mm,
But it was, yeah,
something's better than nothing, I guess. But
it was
yeah,
definitely a
if
poor
those were
decision.
goons, it would have been a little bit better. I think maybe he didn't expect the aggression. You know, that's probably what happened.
Hmm.
And I think both these guys are kind of on the aggressive tilt, which is a good thing. I think you always got to test your opponent, you know, and so they did that. And sometimes you caught unexpectedly, and that's what happened.
Absolutely. Uh, yeah, so not really much else left to say there. It was a very standard PvP in my books. Uh, I didn't I expected maybe a little bit something more cheesy, but it wasn't the case.
That
Uh,
was a
s
great game. It was really good.
I mean, it showed that both players have a definite concept of how to play the matchup. Uh,
Okay,
so
I'm gonna take 1 second. I'm gonna thank Jealous again for putting on these streams and casts, and I'm gonna take just like 30-second, 1 minute break. Okay,
all right, go ahead, man.
thanks.
All right, so since we are in a little bit of an intermission right now, and we already pretty much talked about the first game completely, if there's anybody in the stream that has any questions about Protoss, I guess, or PvP, what we just saw, or maybe general questions, should be able to answer most of the general questions about the game. Maybe not something very specific like at what supply you make your fifth hatchery or something like that. But any questions, just fire away. CPL, game related, up to you. And in the meantime, as we wait for some questions, I'll play a little bit of music behind it. Oh, and
Okay, I'm back.
oh, okay, that was quick.
Thanks for waiting.
Yeah, no problem. Gotta give a shout out to Rapid Casting.
Sweet.
He's in the stream right now. He's been
Big props.
yeah, another one of the casters that's been pushing Boudoir to more English speaking ears.
He's gotten so much heat, you know,
Hmm.
and you know what? Admittedly, I'll play it straight. It's deserved to some degree,
Hmm.
but like this guy's carried it on his shoulders like a pro. Like he's a fucking professional.
Exactly.
So huge respect for Rapid. He's like, I don't know, like every step, every different cast he does, I see improvement, and that's like amazing. And I think he's an asset to the community. So props to Rapid. Thanks for watching.
100%.
Yeah, I'm just very grateful. Like I think this community is pretty sick, you know, and like just again the commitment from everyone, the coaches, the players. It's a really sick atmosphere. So
Hmm.
I'm pretty hype about that. Thanks for watching, everyone.
Yep. So, you don't make it sound like we're about to leave. We just got started, man.
All right, man.
We're moving up to game two now. Looks like Jordaddy picks Circuit Breaker as his map of the counter map. So let's see what happens in game two.
Okay.
Now, Circuit Breaker, I like it because it's still very standard, very similar to Fighting Spirit, but it does give you a lot of mobility options. It really shows a lot of people's style, and it gives, I think, a lot more options for aggression, especially in the early mid game. So it's going to be interesting to see how these two aggressive players play it out. And
So can you still be aggressive on this map, like in PvP? Can you still do, say, I guess yeah, like even on one base, can you still be aggressive because of those bridges? Can you?
well,
Is this still
on
work?
one base, I think it's a lot harder to be aggressive, but because of the fact that there is that high ground, there's a lot of ways that you can wrap around and get decent engages even with the bridges. If you keep a small portion of your army on the behind the bridge, like maybe like a couple dragoons, a couple zealots, and then you
Mm,
bring the bulk of your force through the high ground, it's very hard to prevent getting flanked that way because on the one side you have the high ground, on the other side you don't really want to cross the bridges yourself and get caught out of position. So it's all about
Yeah,
how
I hear
people
that.
split their armies and how they gauge the situation. But before we get into that, let's look at the players. At the bottom left, we have the yellow Protoss Jordaddy.
All right, and top left, Probua Protoss.
Yeah, the blue Protoss up top. And Jordaddy, he sends out a probe after Pylon. Maybe he is. There's two options, I think, in this scenario. He did place the Pylon in his main, and he is scouting cross. So I think I was thinking that he might consider going for a 12 Nexus. Because if you scout cross and you find your opponent there, you can pretty safely go for a 12 Nexus and be able to hold even a 2 gate. But instead he throws down the gateway, and I'm kind of puzzled about the choice to scout cross in that case, because now he's gonna have to have a 50-50 shot and potentially not find his opponent soon. But it looks like Proba actually thought about scouting cross as well. I guess they're both
So what's
checking the
he
center.
trying to gain here with this though? You
I,
know,
I
it
feel
doesn't seem like he's gaining a lot.
Well, I mean, the one thing that you can get an advantage of is that you could misdirect the opponent's probe. Like if your probes meet each other, he's gonna think, oh well, he's you know, he can't be there, you know, or something like that. He's like it's a different expectation based on where you see the probe coming from. So he's gonna think, oh well, I scouted there, so that means he must be bottom right. As opposed to if you see your probe around the same time in the same place, you know, oh, he's on the mirror side of me on the map. It's hard to explain in words, but I think
Kind of
that
makes sense.
yeah, the key is I think they were both scouting the centers. I think actually you can build gateways in the middle, so they both checked there. I do like Probo's choice better though, of scouting the center and then moving to the adjacent base, as opposed to Jordaddy's choice of going cross, because as we see here, it kind of burned him. I mean, he sent out an early scout. He's not going to get there much earlier than Probo will, and by this time there's already a zealot on the ramp.
So it's basically slower than if he had gone
Yeah,
counterclockwise.
yeah. Definitely so. And let's see if this is Zealot tight. Oh, no hold position again from the Zealot. But the Zealot, oh, misses the third hit. That was almost very nice by Probo, but I think he would have been better off just finding that sweet spot and pressing hold position there, to be honest with you. Sweet spot seems to be would be like right here on that
I'm
low
not gonna
ridge.
lie, PvP looks difficult. Like there's little things in here that look kind of tough, you know,
Mhm.
like putting the, I mean, the ramp blocking. You don't know if it's 2 gate, 3 gate, whatnot,
Yeah.
right? So it's tough,
Oh.
especially early game, to
Oh.
anticipate. Did he get through?
Yeah, he got through that Zealot. It's about, I would say, like 2 pixels too high. Yeah,
Oh
you
man.
see where that cross is, that the doodad cross, kind of. You can see the
Yeah.
he's standing a little bit above the point where you want to be. You see where that if you look at the ramp, you see where that corner is, that really visible corner in the
Yeah.
middle there. That's, you want to stand immediately there, maybe even slightly a little bit below
Uh,
and under it. But he was standing just a smidge up, and that allowed the probe to get in. And
it's
so
so obvious on Circuit Breaker, isn't it?
yeah, well, at least on that position. And actually, we're seeing Jordaddy do a proxy gateway inside Probo's base, and the Dragoon's not gonna scout up there. I don't think, if as long as it kills this probe. So this is actually huge.
Yeah, and he sniped the probe too. That was a really good job from Jordaddy sniping Probo's scouting probe,
Mhm.
but that got in right just about 5 seconds earlier. So
Yeah.
he sniped that with the Zealot really quickly.
And wow, Probo, I mean, the other thing is too, like in PvP, generally you want to place your pylons all around the edge of your main base so you can see shuttles flying in. But given the way that these positions are set up, Probo is going to be a lot less inclined to put pylons on the right side of his base, and
Oh,
therefore
this is so dangerous.
he's not going to see this gateway now, yeah. And this is going to be proxy DT from Jordaddy. This is exactly what we expect to see from our Latino brothers in Brood War. Proxy DT gateway inside your main base. And the Templar Archives is just about finished. First DT should be started up almost immediately. And normally, if the DT was coming from his main base, this robo timing would probably be actually sufficient to at least stall on the ramp. And,
Right.
But now, because
Travel
the
time, right? That's like 8 seconds, 10 seconds, something like that.
walking distance, I think
Yeah.
it's actually surprisingly long. I found out recently, someone was I was talking to someone about it. It takes a Corsair something like 15 seconds to fly diagonally from nat to nat in on Fighting Spirit. So for a DT to walk, I think it might be closer to 20 seconds
Maybe even
easily.
longer.
Yeah. So those 20 seconds are the crucial difference between dead probe line and not dead probe line. Because the robotics is just now finishing, but the DT is already in here, and that's gonna be that's pretty much a game-winning move right off the jump. If I was him, I would definitely target the robotics facility, though. Targeting the probes is a secondary need. If Proba can keep this robotics alive for some time, he'll only get a disadvantage. He
Oh.
won't outright lose.
This is good though. Here's the balance where you have to make decisions where it's like guaranteed damage versus possible damage, right? So he's saying I want immediate damage right now by killing probes, even though he's targeting the Nexus for some reason.
Yeah, he's gonna go for the
Versus I'm going to risk taking the Robo out. Maybe I'm not going to get to take out the Robo. So it's a higher risk, higher reward.
true, but the observer is coming out now. I think he could afford to send the probes to mine now, and it seems like that's what he's doing. If you notice here what he's doing the stop micro to kind of glitch the DTs, and that's what he should have been doing this whole time, I think. The DTs, as long as you do that stop micro, they're not going to be able to get very many hits off. But I
Let's
do
look at
have,
that probe count though.
yeah, it's 14 to 27, so definitely did a lot of damage, and he hasn't been mining for a while. But
That's massive.
at the same time, his army is actually still quite good, whereas Jordaddy, because of the investment, his army count is quite low. The tech advantage is not going to keep him alive for a long time, considering the observer's already out. So I think that Probola still has a way back into this game, mostly because of the fact that Jordaddy focused down that Nexus, which was kind of the worst possible option, I think, in that scenario.
Yeah, I think you're right. And again, this goes to Probua not being afraid of that aggression, right?
Hmm.
So if he decides to counter and maybe he gets some good engage, he can put Jordaddy back on the back foot, right? So this
Absolutely.
is what happened last game. It was a
Hmm.
sudden counterattack. He's going again with the aggression. I like this decision. And again, just
Ooh.
test your opponent, right?
Yeah, but he does need an observer in his main base before he does that. He hasn't committed to making one yet, and as we noticed, there's a DT in the natural of Probola. The DT is going to come out now. I think he knows that the army is making its way towards his natural, so he knows that the main of
That
Probola is
DT is just sitting
undefended.
there.
Yeah, he could have committed already by now, I think. I think he's trying to see if more Dragoons are... He's waiting for the next macro round to leave the main base,
That
perhaps?
would be so good right now if he sent that in. Like he'd put him down to like 5 probes if he got in there.
That is absolutely true. But the next Mac round is not coming out. The Observer is not coming as well. It's going to be a shuttle. At the same time, though, Probola is going to take down the front of Jordaddy, force the
This
Nexus to
aggression is
cancel.
great. This aggression is the test for, again, who's the better multitasker? Who's going to put the gates down?
Hmm.
Who's going to keep macroing? And I
Exactly.
think Proba feels like he's got the edge on that side.
If he
So he's
pushes
not
up
afraid of that aggression.
if he pushed up the ramp a little bit sooner with the entirety of his army right now, I think he would have been in a much better position. But even so, he still has a distinct army advantage in fighting here. The OBS is on the way, and at the same time, he lost. Oh my God, he lost so many probes. He's down to 11 probes. He needs to make it up this ramp. He does make it up the ramp. Let's see how this engage goes. Oh my God, but Dragoons keep pouring out of these gateways, and the probes are pulled. Oh, this
Ooh,
army's gonna get cleaned up. The probes were the deciding factor here for sure.
this is a crazy game. Holy smokes! I didn't expect him to have to pull probes here.
Yeah, he ends up doing so, but now he's actually, I mean, he's still in a really good position. He lost a couple of probes here, but nothing too crazy. He's down now to only 20, I mean, he has 29 probes against the 11 of Probola, so Probola is going to be facing a really uphill battle now. And another DT,
Yeah.
is this the same DT? It is the same DT. Oh
Is
my,
it 12 kills? Holy smokes!
oh
This
my
is
God,
such a tough position. Like that attack was really, really good. And oh, there he
GG.
goes.
Yeah. I really like that play from Jordaddy, leaving that DT behind. You know, he kind of sacrificed. You know, it was kind of risky because he had such a small force to defend his front with that even leaving that one DT was kind of a sacrifice. It was a risk, but it's a risk that paid off there. Very nicely
Yeah,
done by Jordaddy. Oops.
I'm impressed. I don't know. It was a very interesting game. The counterattack was a good decision. Not having that obs was a huge problem. That's that additional obs that you mentioned. Just keeping it in base for that additional DT that would probably sneak back in, and it did sneak back in, and it caused even more damage. It was crazy.
Hmm. So I mean, let's talk about what the players could have done better in that game. I think that Jordaddy definitely could have benefited from not targeting Nexus, continuing to chase probes, or
Yeah,
potentially killing more Dragoons, or most likely the best option would have definitely been to kill that robotics facility, because if he has two DTs, or second DT, um, like he has enough time to kill that robotics before the ops comes out, because DTs do a ton of damage to buildings in general.
that was a crazy attack though. Like the fact that he didn't get scouted. That pylon was very close to the edge. It wasn't far enough though, you know?
Hmm.
Like he did build a pylon close to where that proxy was, but it just wasn't far enough. So that could have got shut down. It would have been a completely different game.
Hmm.
But the fact that you got that DT and just gave him such a huge edge, just as the Robo finished too.
True.
Like,
You have to give
wow.
props to Jordaddy for having those cojones, to throw that gateway down and
It
say,
is.
yeah. And
He's rolling the dice,
mhm.
right? Like it's part cojones and part like just like I don't know, cowboy style, you know? It's
Mhm.
like let's just go,
Well,
you know?
if you play completely safe in this game, and especially in PvP, you often will get beat out by the person who takes the bigger risk, because it's all about risk reward. And if
Mm.
ultimately, if he had been forced to cancel that gateway, it wouldn't be that much of a loss. You know, it'd be one
Hmm.
pylon that's late, maybe a little bit of money that he could have spent a
He
little
did
bit
have the
better.
second gateway in his base too, so he
Yeah,
was kind of playing it safe that
yeah,
way.
he wasn't completely all in, let's say. And
Hmm.
the amount of army that Proboa had, it would have taken him a while to take down the Nexus, I mean, I'm sorry, the Gateway or the Pylon before DT came out. So it was, it was kind of calculated. It was a good move by Jordaddy. But let's talk about Probo as well. I feel like completely stopping his mining was a questionable decision as well. He could have been mining from his natural if he really wanted to, but I feel like the better option is when the DT is inside your mineral line, you just kind of you run to a mineral, then you press stop, and the fact that the probes are dancing around, it makes the DT just jump around and not be able to do any damage. There was
Yeah.
during the Six Dragons era in PvP in around 2009, I think it was. There was a semifinal match. I think it was Jang B versus Free.
I
Uh,
fucking love Jangbi.
yeah, it was. I think it was the Club de MSL. It was Jang B versus Free, and what happened was Free was waiting for a cannon to come up, and Jangbi had like two DTs that were trying to take it down, but Free kept running the pros back and forth and pressing stop, and he actually managed to keep the two DTs off the cannon long enough for it to come up
Hmm.
and for his army to show up. So that's a technique that Probo did do a little bit of at the end there,
But
but way
there's
too
this
late.
like weird like there's this belief system that's broken where it's like it's cloaked. It's not going to react the same way as the normal unit.
Hmm. I
But
have to
it
run.
reacts like you're saying. It reacts the exact same way. You can glitch it.
Yeah.
That's cool. I never thought about that actually.
All right. Well,
I didn't know that could happen.
mhm. I got asked by someone in the stream to introduce myself. My name's Jealous, aka Trapped in Sea, aka Fanaticist, aka Chobo Swags. I have a lot of AKAs because I've been in the scene for so goddamn long and probably have like a bit of a personality crisis issue. I'm one of the administrators for this league, the CPL, the Coach Pupil League, which is where coaches who are C plus and up train players who are from D minus 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 to C. I'm also a coach of a team. El Master, a player that you'll be seeing later, is on my team. And I think that's about it. I've been playing Brood War for since about like '99, I would say, on and off. As a kid, definitely took a lot of big breaks here and there. I'm C plus max myself, but I also played in a PGT, WGT back in the early mid 2000s. So, yeah, that's about it for me. Let's get back into
I'm
the
gonna
games
take
now.
a quick 30
Okay,
second break. Just
sure.
go ahead. Okay, thanks.
All right, so if anyone else has any questions, feel free to shoot now. Shout outs to Ayatsuri EXZ, aka Nep. He has an interesting Discord that I'll send you guys an invite to. It's a little community for Brood War and Melee and Overwatch and stuff. So let me send you guys this link right now. It's you can pick up some casual games against some lower level players here. There's also a couple of decent players in here as well for the foreigner scale. So here is the Discord link for that discussion. Yeah, you guys can feel free to join in there. I think that's the right one. I hope that's the right one. So yeah, if you guys have any questions about the game, me, the league, feel free to shoot now. Here, this way it will never what's called it will never expire if you use that one. So that's for anyone who's interested in joining a little Brood War community, as I said earlier. Get some practice games in there. Play some No Hunters Free for Alls, which is a decent community thing. And in fact, I'm gonna. Oh, I actually don't have the link to that one, so maybe Ayasuri can link that one. Actually, I think I know where I can get it. Let's see.
I'm back.
What's up?
Whew. I was at a buddy's place and I had a barbecue and we had like a few beers, so it's kind of coming out now.
Hmm. I feel you. The what's it called? You broke the seal, I think they call it.
Yeah, exactly. Oh man, it's so beautiful right now. I'm near Toronto. I'm in Canada. It's about like 25 Celsius. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but
Hmm.
it's just gorgeous and nice, beautiful breeze. It was perfect.
Yeah, it's I live in New Jersey. It's been a little bit hot recently. Definitely hotter than what I like to experience considering I'm from Russia. So I'm used to, like really dry, really breezy summer with like, like around 23, 22. That's my ideal right
That's
there.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get right into game three now. I'm going to cut off this music that I've been playing in your absence. And game three, this is going to be a deciding game between Probo and Jordaddy. Let's see what map Jordaddy decided. I'm sorry, Probo decided upon. It is going to be destination. So this map is infamous for all the cheeses that you can do on this map. I mean, proxy gateways are really famous on this map because of how big the main base is. You can actually hide them behind the middle line. So we'll see if Jordaddy decides to go for something similar this time.
Yeah.
The big space behind the mineral line in the natural, you can like place dragoons, cannons, or you can actually place a reaver there, and the reaver can
Yeah.
shoot through the little gap that's there. I'll show you guys in a second.
See, I have like ADHD, and like it's both a blessing and a curse with brood boar because like you kind of you run through so many possibilities, right?
Hmm.
And a lot of them are negative, obviously, right? It's like, oh, this outcome's horrible,
Yeah.
or oh, he's already got 5 bases, right? So,
Hmm.
but on the bright side, it's like you can also kind of, predict things and kind of play ahead of your opponent, right?
True.
And it's not necessarily like, oh, you don't. It's not necessarily just ADHD, but like it's just you're trying to go through the thought process of being ahead of your opponent. And this map is just like there's so many strategies available
Hmm.
on this map that it just overload. You know what I mean? It just drives me crazy, man. I can't play this map very well.
And we already see a little bit of queso from our friend ProBoy. It looks like he is going to be building those proxy gateways, and he's actually building them almost directly under the main base of Jordaddy. It would be interesting to see if he could have like done the pylon hop trick, where you build the pylon on the low ground, then the gateway on the high ground.
I
But
thought that's what he was doing,
no, I don't think
but
that's
it
what
looks
he's.
like he's
Yeah,
not.
yeah, he's just gonna put them right outside, and I'm not sure I can agree with this move here. I think if he was gonna do this, he would need to keep a probe on the on the ramp of his base to make sure that the what's called the enemy probe doesn't scout the fact that the gateways are proxy, because this is gonna be hard countered by just two gateways inside Jordaddy's main. He's gonna have the gateways up around the same time. The walking distance is not gonna be short
I
enough
don't
to.
agree with it either.
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. There's no real advantage. It's actually a disadvantage having your gates out here.
Yeah, so we would expect right now for Jordaddy to get his second gateway up as soon as possible. It actually looks like, oh wow, he's going for a counter proxy. Are you serious right now? Oh my God! Just when I thought that, just when I thought that Jordaddy would just do the safe thing and like take the easy W that's been given him, it looks like he's actually just he's gonna commit to the. I think he's gonna go 3-gate zealot. One gateway is gonna be proxied, and that's gonna actually be devastating for Proboa. I'm curious to see how this delaying of the gateway is going to affect the situation, but I think he'll be able to hold, especially if he uses a probe on the ramp here.
What's that saying? When the void stares at you, you stare right back.
Yeah,
I think that's what he's doing.
yeah. See, I think we are going to see this third gateway come up inside the main base of Proboa. Oh my God! Yeah, so this zealot's going to come out, but
This is a
Jordaddy's going to
great
be out.
counter.
Yeah. Yep, there goes the third gateway. I would like to see him keep the probe there, though. Main reason... Oh, wow, but the Zealot gets in, so this can actually be devastating for him.
Theme of this series is this ramp holding.
Yeah, so what's called... Once the first Zealot gets in, it becomes increasingly more difficult to stem the tide of Zealots coming into your base. It's really actually crucial to hold the ramp against the first Zealot, so it keeps all the other Zealots out. But now he's going to actually be able to do a lot of economic damage here just by forcing the probes to run around. But
Yeah.
and there goes
Should he
one
build a
probe.
shield battery? Is that something you can do? Like he's
No,
very low on minerals.
no, I absolutely don't think that that's necessary. I feel like if he just keeps up with his own Zealot production, 2-gate versus 2-gate, he's going to be able to stay on top of this. It all's going to come down to the micro. And he does have the ace up his sleeve of having the gateway inside Proboa's base. He's making a gateway now.
Yeah,
I
there's
mean,
there's
he's
a
making a
zealot
Zealot.
halfway through now.
Hmm.
There's a zealot halfway building at the proxy. This is going to be just crazy damage. I mean, he's still got a microwave because if he surrounds it with the probes and he kills it fast, then it's a wasted opportunity.
Absolutely. And it's also going to reveal his hand, but right now we are seeing a kind of decent micro from Jordaddy, but Proboa does the right thing and he pulls back as soon as the probes are pulled. So it has to be said that Proboa is losing a lot of mining time. I mean, Jordaddy is losing a lot of mining time, but now Proboa is going to be losing even more because he's going to be trying to glitch the Zealot. Doing a great job of it, actually. But now that the Zealot is behind the middle line, he can just camp out here and kill probes one by one. So,
Yeah, great spot. I really like this spot. He should go right back to it. That way
hmm
he can't get surrounded, can't
uh,
get glitched.
yeah, he got
Oh, and
surrounded,
there
but
he goes.
the next Zealot is going to probably be out soon. And in the meantime, Proboa trying to micro the two Zealots independently is continuing to pick off probes, but it's 13 probes against 9 for Proboa. He did have to cut some probes to make his build work. So, wow, this is going to be a massive advantage now for Jordaddy.
Yeah, this is game. Like I don't know how Probo is gonna come back from this.
He's trying to make a what's called. He's trying to get ahead through tech. He's making a cybernetics core, and dragoons might be one way that he could try to stay alive and get himself back in this. Because with some stellar dragoon micro, you can do a lot of damage to zealots. But I don't know if no range dragoons and his micro are on that level. He is still picking off probes in the main base of Jordaddy, which is really impressive. But now he looks like he dropped the micro a little bit. One more hit
Yeah,
on
he
that
brought
probe.
it back. It was about 14 to 9 probes. Now it's 14 to 12. So he did bring it back.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the major mistake here was that Jordaddy just kind of, he at this point could afford to send 3 Zealots from his main base. Yeah, exactly what he's doing now. He's sending the 3 Zealots from his main base to go attack Proboa. Um, and he could have held the ramp with the two that were remaining and held off any additional ones with what's called, with the stuff coming out the gateways. And that's
Yeah,
exactly what
he's got an opportunity still.
yeah.
Like this is still a really bad position for Probo.
Yeah, another Zealot comes out of the gateway that's proxied in Probo's base, and Jordaddy is using the advice. He's using the time machine, took my advice, and he's using the two Zealots to block his own ramp. So this is going to continue to grind down on Probo's economy. And with these 3 Zealots showing up, oh my god, that's probably going to be fatal. Wow. We do see 2
Yeah, this
Dragoons are
is
out.
this is rough. And he stopped production on that proxy for a little bit.
hmm
If he had kept kind of constant streaming from that, it would have been even more painful for Probola. But it was a really good counter, really smart.
hmm Really smart play.
Maybe there was a small risk because, like you said, he did have to cut eco.
Uh-huh. Well, no,
But overall, like solid counter.
yeah, and now Probo is actually inside the main base of Jordaddy with these Dragoons. He's going to try to stay alive, but great glitch here from Jordaddy, using the gas to change the direction of the probes just in time to catch these Dragoons. And if he catches this is a tight spot for them, right here.
Yeah,
Oh, he got it!
he noticed
Wow,
those
very
Dragoons.
nice. Very nice play from Jordaddy there.
He needs to block that ramp. There's no more goons coming out from Probola. The Nexus goes down.
hmm It's one Dragoon against the entirety of Jordaddy's Ire army. It's not looking good for our boy here, our boy in green, Proboa.
Another crazy game, man. It's hard to keep up with what's going on.
Absolutely, GG. Yeah, that was nuts. I mean, just when you thought that there was like one thing that I would call the correct answer, which is just to throw down that second gateway in your main base, but Jordaddy, he chose the swag answer. So you have to give credit where credit's due. I mean, he chose a winning strategy at the end of it.
It's Yeah, like I'm having trouble like absorbing that game because it was just crazy like off the get-go. Like first with that proxy gateway, which was ill-advised, but then with that counter proxy, which
Yeah.
was I think a great play.
hmm
Yeah, so like I mean, props to was that Jordaddy? I'm
Yeah,
having trouble.
Jordaddy.
Yeah, Jordaddy.
All right,
Props
so
to Jordaddy for that move.
now we're gonna give I like to give player grades. I've transitioned from giving the letter scale grades because that's confusing considering the IC Cup context. So now we do stars, and they're kind of,
Okay.
we've already talked about most of the mistakes that happen in that set of series. So this is more like, just overall style, pizzazz, what my interpretation of what their level is at and what their performance was here. I'm gonna
Hmm.
give Probo 3 stars. I mean, he reacted really well in game one. And the games have been, because of the fact that there have been such bizarre games, I can see how it's a lot more trying on newer players. I've actually had a theory about this, how probably the hardest place to play Brood War back in the day was probably on US East in the Peru-1 channel, PER-1, because imagine a player pool where everyone cheeses everyone all the time. So,
Yeah,
so
I've
definitely
heard you
not
say
gonna.
this too, and
Yeah.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
So in this case, I think we see that Jordaddy definitely comes from that kind of a background where, I mean, he saw a cheese, he recognized that it was a cheese without even scouting the two gateways proxied. He knows because he saw the empty base of Probo, and it looked like he almost didn't even hesitate with his answer. He immediately threw down the proxy, delayed the gateway in his main even to make it happen, and then
Hmm.
if his micro had been a little bit better, if both the players had been better at holding their ramps, this series would have been completely different. So the overall suggestion for both players would be definitely to get a grip on holding the ramp against zealots and probes. So
Yeah.
ultimately speaking, with such a scrappy series, I'm gonna give Jordaddy 3.5 stars for swag, and
Okay.
Probo is gonna get the 3 stars.
I agree with that. I mean, I would give them both 3 stars. I think Probua has the solid macro. He's got the solid multitask.
Hmm.
He's missing again that kind of just that little bit of awareness that makes you more solid, like keeping that obs in your base, right?
Yeah, making a new proc.
Jordaddy solid with the reaction, so a little bit different on the Probua, like where Jordaddy's kind of aware, but his macros suffers and his multitask suffers a little bit relative to Probua. I mean, both great players, and it was a great match. So I'd give them both 3 stars because of their varying strengths. It was really interesting.
Hmm. Definitely agree with you there. Now let's move on to the next series, though. We have Pro Forward against Stardom. So Stardom, of course, hailing from Stardom and the Plebs, and Pro Forward.
Yeah,
Yeah, Pro Forward's been making a come up recently as well. I believe he played
yeah.
in what's called DRT League before, and I believe recently. I mean, I think recently he either beat Elmaster or gave him a lot of trouble. It was one or the other. So it's
I
gonna be
think he
interesting
took
to
a
see.
game off Fazic as well, didn't he?
Um,
Or was
no,
that
no,
DNH?
that was Python. Python beat Fazic game one, and then Fazic
No,
had
so it was DNH then, or because we couldn't really find anything on Pro Forward, but he did take a game off one of the stronger Terrans, and that was
yeah.
impressive.
Definitely. So the next game is up. Is going to be CPL password CPL, and
Okay.
Stardom, of course, is everyone's favorite 100 APM Terran. So he makes a lot of things happen with 100 APM. He's kind of like the evil eye of the Terran race. It's always interesting to see how a player that has a completely different approach to the game. You know, this non-mechanical approach where they're all
Yeah.
about action efficiency, and
Yeah.
so it's going to interesting to see how this plays out against Zerg now.
Well, there's a balance of like mechanics with understanding of the game, right?
Hmm.
So, I mean, you generally want understanding of the game and then mechanics to kind of back that up, right?
True.
So, if you have both, then you're obviously going to be a very strong player.
It's just I think that nowadays, especially because APM is something you can quantify, whereas game knowledge and skill is not something that is easily quantifiable. A lot of people
Yeah.
think just artificially increase their APM first and then try to catch up on game knowledge later. So that's
Hmm.
why it's a lot more common to see like the 300 APM D rank player than it is to see the 100 APM C rank player, you know?
Yeah. But then you watch their stream and it's painful because they're just like
Yeah.
clicking on the same thing.
Yeah, Evil Eye actually lives, not very far away from me. I told him I'm gonna come to his house and I'm gonna come with like a video camera and record him playing Brood War. But
What is he like sipping one cup with like
yeah, he has a blunt in
with the
one
pinky
hand,
up? He's got the tea.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, no, but like I mean, I mean, Protoss you can play with lower APM. Terran is a little bit difficult. Like I think with like 150 you can still pull it off, but with the mines and the siege and like the various modes that you have to go, it's a little
prepared
bit more difficult.
prepared to
Prepare
feel
to
the
feel the
power of
power of
Sinnoh.
Sinnoh.
Smiley face. Pro forward is nonplussed. He's unfazed. And speaking of phased, phasers, captain of Stardom, EMG, the teal Terran in this game, spawning in the top left.
Oh, is this me?
Yeah, now it's your turn. Yep.
Stardom?
No, 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 no.
Did I get it right? No,
No,
the
no, you
bottom
have to do
right.
pro forward.
Oh, okay. On the bottom right is Pro Forward.
And he's going for
The
a four
upcoming
pool.
Zerg 4 pool.
Yeah. The four pool is the ultimate all in. Because five pool, you can still kind of come back because you have a little bit of that economy advantage. But four pool is pretty much completely all in. You're only able to produce one more drone after you do the four pool. And
I don't
five
like
pool.
the 4 pool.
No, especially on maps like Fighting Spirit, which is a four-player map, I think four pool is just a foolish decision. I don't think he's
Yeah,
gonna even send a drone out to scout it, and if he does, it's gonna be like what, like a quarter of his economy. So, this
I
is
like
pretty.
5 pool better.
Yeah, five pool is a lot better because you can get up to 6 drones before you make the 150 minerals and lings. So he's gonna make the lings now. I would have liked to see him probably glitch this Zerg egg, this larva to the left side of the hatchery so the lings can get out easier. I mean, if you're already going for an all-in, you might as well expedite the entire process as much as you
How do you do
possibly
that
can.
glitch? I don't know
Oh,
how to do that.
alright, so what you do is when you have larva, right, you select it, and then you hold shift and you select, let's say, your overlord or any other unit that you have, but overlord's preferable at this stage of the game. And then you
So you
tell
shift select larva with the
overlord,
overlord, so you group them together.
and then you press stop, right? And then when you press stop, all the
Uh,
larvae just walk across the edge of the hatchery and end up on the left side. And it looks like, yeah, he is not going to go to the correct place first. He isn't going to scout with a drone either. So this is pretty much, he's going to go 50-50 on this. And
yep.
at the same time, Stardom playing very standard. Kind of, yeah, he's making 2 depots, so he's not going to go try to go for the 15cc because he didn't scout the Zerg
Yeah.
in his first try, but now the Zerg's gonna find out that oh, oops, he's not here, so he's gonna have to change direction. Yep. So there's actually there's gonna be still a
He's
lot of
still got
Zerglings.
potential here.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of Zerglings knocking at this door right now, and it's all gonna come down to Stardom's micro. I don't
I
think that
don't. I
his
don't like the fact that he hasn't double scouted. This
yeah.
puts him in a very dangerous situation right now.
Absolutely, and he's actually moving out with the first Marine. I think that's an extremely questionable decision here. And oh, now you see he throws out the
Ooh.
command center even. Wow, I think this might be a very quick game indeed. Now, he needed to have the
Oh my
Sim City
goodness,
very
no.
well done in his main base, but yeah, he canceled the CC. That's a good move. I would like to see him start a bunker maybe. That's probably the only thing that will keep him alive at this point. But with the Marines coming out so far away from the middle line, it's gonna be almost impossible for him to hold off this attack.
Yeah, this is crazy right now. This is not good.
SCVs are really
Like
strong.
this number of they're very strong, but I mean you have to get a good surround on the lings so that you can do the surface damage on them. If they're kind of like this, where you're not really attacking many of them at a time, yeah, you're seeing the result right now.
Exactly. You
They're
need to
just picking off
stack.
one after another.
Exactly. You need to stack them up, and then glitch as many of them as you can with stop micro. But now he's down to as many SCVs as the enemy has
This
drones, and
is
that's GG. Wow.
this is why you double scout, man.
This is the textbook example of why double scouting is a thing. Textbook.
Seriously,
I do like
that was so rough.
I do like the fact that he scouted the high ground between him and the bottom left main to see if the Overlord is there. But yeah,
It wasn't enough.
this is why you double scout. I mean, he tried to even throw down the command center before he got the scout off. So that's a quick one for a pro forward to step up in this series. And yeah, Stardom just didn't play safe enough. It's something that I feel like anyone who plays on ladder is familiar with, is the fact that like for me when I play ladder, I go Forge first with double scout. Like I scout at Pylon, I scout at Forge. So I have 2 probes out on the map very quickly simply because of the fact so many people cheese. And I feel like maybe
Yeah.
Stardom took it, got a little bit confident, like, oh, this is Coach Pupil League, we're here to learn, no one's gonna cheese me. And then, well, we see the result. You play greedy, you get punished.
Well, there's a little bit of disrespect for cheesing. Was that game one?
That was game one, yeah.
No, yeah, that's wrong, man. No, sorry, pro forward.
You're not gonna respect that? I mean,
No,
all the greatest Brood War champions, they cheese game one.
maybe a 9 pool. 9 pool makes sense, right? It's still an open game. It's economical relatively. This is cheese. No, right off the bat. Sorry,
Well, all right. So
not
think
gonna
about
work for me.
if cheesing in the first game of a series is a major psychological move. If you think about July versus Best, for example, Best was coming off of one of the hottest streaks of all time, and July, this old, fat, washed up, yesteryear
Yeah,
champion, right?
but
For
legendary.
Yeah, legendary, but at the same time, at that point, he only had 2 OSL wins. He didn't have the golden mouse. But still, he was way past his prime, and for game one, he cheesed. He busted the front with a drone drill and Zerglings, I believe, if I remember
I remember
correctly.
that. Yeah,
So, and then
that was the
after
map
that,
with the simulators, right?
yep, and Best after that, he was just shook the whole series. So maybe pro forward, using a little psychological mind
He's
games
taking a
here.
bit of July.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hmm.
So looks like Stardom moved to the map Overwatch, and I really agree with this decision. I think this map is great for Terran. I said so yesterday. I'll say it again.
Yeah.
And because there's only 2 players on this map, he's gonna be able to scout any cheese that Pro Forward has in store for him very quickly. But we do see the 5th drone immediately come up. So at the very least, it's going to be a 5 pool. We have to now keep eyes on Pro Forward, see how many drones he builds.
I hope
And
it's a 5 pool.
six
Oh, damn
could be
it.
6 pool. 6 pool is still okay.
Shit, I can't give him. I can't give him 1 star then. He's getting at least 2.
And we are going up to 7 drones now, so it's officially not going to be a super cheesy pool. We might see a relatively quick one. One thing that I've seen actually, I think it was who was it? Tai 2. I think he has this crazy build where he does something like 9 pool, right? Then he makes yeah, no, it's some like relatively fast pool, and then he uses 2 drones to make 2 extractors on the map. So he has 2 extra larvae before Overlord comes out. It's absolutely nuts. So
That sounds nuts.
yeah, we'll see if he goes the tie 2 route here, or if he's going to try to go for a standard macro game here. If you think about it from the psychological aspect, though, I feel like
Yeah.
he should go for a standard game this time, because now Stardom is scared. Now Stardom is shook. He's gonna play extra defensive, not as greedy. And if Pro Forward is the one that plays greedy, then he's already he's already in an advantage. So
Yeah, like I'm kind of just surprised that he's not double scouting though. Like Flash even double scouts.
absolutely,
Like so it's crazy. Like I didn't think Flash double scouted, and then I looked at one of his games and he's like, okay, there's 2 scouts there. It's
yeah.
obviously dangerous enough to merit that second scout at 14 supply.
Maybe Stardom
You
is
know?
he thinks he's better than Flash, because I mean he is on the team
That's
Stardom and
crazy.
he's on the team Stardom and the plebs. You know what I mean? So he might be getting a big head about himself. Who
I'm
knows?
not gonna judge, like, but like,
And we actually see a gas from Stardom, so this is most likely going to be a tech build. It's going to be interesting to see. This is one of my favorite things about TVZ is when the Terran goes for a one-base tech build, because there's so many different options that you can pursue here. You can go for a Vulture drop into Valkyrie with Bio. You can go for two port. You can go for straight up mech. I've seen people also do this crazy one siege tank, small Bio force push that to bust the natural.
yeah,
There's just a lot of options here that we can see.
yeah, that's crazy. I've actually I've wondered if 2 FAC speed vault works. Because they always
Yeah.
expect that 1 volt and then they block it with the sunk very easily.
Hmm.
But I wonder if all of a sudden there's 4 vultures speeding by.
Yeah,
It's kind of all inish.
it definitely is, because if they block the ramp, or if they have really good SimCity in their natural, because I like to throw down an Evo chamber or a Hydra Den in some cases to make a completely tight wall, because I do that myself, like just make speed vultures and try to run in. So sometimes I
Yeah,
do get screwed over because I don't make enough anti-air before mutilates are out, but so it is
yeah,
definitely risky, but it's an interesting play as well. We are
yeah. I don't like it. I don't like it, but I'm curious about it. This drone just gets right in.
Yeah. Yesterday we saw Evil Eye versus you, I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was where he just where the zealot shows
Oh
up. It's like, wait,
yeah.
what? When
He
is
got
this? Since
through.
when is this tight, right? No, he didn't get through. That's the thing. Like
Oh, he didn't.
no, he didn't. Yeah, you placed the you placed your depot. You placed your barracks immediately. You placed depot to the right of barracks, and he couldn't get in. I was like, wait, what? This is tight.
Huh.
Makes no sense. But yeah, the drone gets in. He sees everything he came to see, and we are seeing 2 factories. So maybe we're gonna see the answer that to your question here with 2 factories. It could also be
Yeah.
if he's going super old school. It could be just straight up Goliath build. Because remember those days? Well, maybe not remember, but have you ever heard of those days on Lost Temple where people would just go like 2 factory Goliath drop in TVZ?
That's pretty awesome. I don't remember, but it sounds really badass.
Yeah, and I like Pro Forward's response here too. He's going for a quick lair with a Hydra Den. Which pretty much covers all options that might come out of the what's called Terran
Yeah,
player.
he doesn't know what's going on, does he?
Yeah,
Like
but
he had the drone in there. He saw the mech,
mhm.
but like, is it 1 FAC CC or what's going on, right?
Well, at least now he knows that it's not going to be any sort of a bio-heavy army. If he was paying attention to those links, he would see the fact that there was only 2 Marines, no flashing racks. So he should suspect, and it is going to be 2 fac vulture speed. You nailed it, dude. We're gonna see this right now. So
This is so. It feels very slow. You know, like
late, you
not.
mean
It's
like
not
late?
because of the execution, but just because of just the nature of the build. So I'm very curious to see how effective it is.
Hmm. And actually, in this case, I think that it's going to work out decently for him, because getting Hydralisk speed first going to be slightly difficult to deal with those vultures. Not having any additional stuff at the front of the base, front of the natural, and having that
Yeah,
sunken colonies so far out forward, while good against 1 vulture, as we discussed earlier, 4 vultures can definitely zip right by. E- Uh,
yeah.
so it
And
is.
he's got the 2 Hydra here, right?
Mhm.
And that's it.
At, and he's not going for Lurker either. He's going for Spire. I like this decision. This is exactly what would punish a Vulture run by. But the Vultures are now out. There's 6 of them, so this could actually be really devastating for him. I wonder if Mines are on the way. Mines are just started, so if the Vultures stay alive for long enough, this could be absolutely
Yeah.
devastating here. And
Like
they
if
are.
he can run up,
Oh
do some
no.
damage to drones. Oh, he's got to go up.
Yeah, why did he show he showed his hand way too early. The Hydras, if they
Oof.
wall this, if they wall, oh, so close. He was so close to getting that wall off.
Now it's 4 Hydra.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what this is. I don't know how much
Oh,
this can do.
yeah, he stopped microing. I feel like if he kept microing, kept running around, he would be able to do a lot more. But now there's a lot of Hydra here, and it did get picked off quite quickly. One thing
Yeah, I don't
that
know
it,
about that timing. Can that be faster? Like, is the execution on that a little bit slow?
I think it's probably because of the fact that he went for 6 vultures. Also, he probably could have hit speed while the vultures were already en route to the enemy base. Not like he left his main base with speed already. If his
Yeah.
vultures were, already on the way, or at least, or even
Yeah,
parked
it needs to
outside the
be
Zerg.
optimized because it seems like the window's very small for this.
Yeah, and there's no mines. I mean, because of the fact that he went speed before mines, he's trying now to throw down some mines in time to. Oh, big
There's a
mess.
stream of Hydra coming
Yeah,
in. Is he gonna be able to block it though? He's got him scared a little bit.
yeah. He lays down 2 more mines. These vultures. I mean, if he uses. Oh, oof. Yeah, but this pretty much cancels any opportunity that Pro Forward had for aggression. Now he knows that the mines are out on the map. He is going for a lurker upgrade behind this, which I'm not sure I agree with. I think maybe he knows that Stardom saw his Spire and therefore is going to be ready for Mutalisk. I mean, we are seeing that Stardom did make a couple of Goliaths, is getting Goliath range.
Is this a bad position for Terran though?
Honestly, I really don't think so. I mean,
You don't think so?
I
I
don't.
think it is.
I mean, he's ahead in supply. He's ahead in workers. The Zerg,
He's got to get a CC down.
yeah. I
He's,
mean, yeah, he does. I mean, he has the luxury of doing so because of the fact that mines are out on the map. Whereas Zerg, I
yeah.
mean, Zerg for this lurker upgrade to even do anything, he needs speed on his overlords, which he doesn't have. So,
Hmm.
um, this lurker upgrade is going to be mostly used for defense, I imagine, unless he tries to use like one Hydralisk to. But oh, he does have overlord speed.
It's super
Okay.
effective actually. Like this mine, it's like a semi mine contain almost.
Hmm.
Like it's almost like a map split with like just the psychological pressure of mines being out
Exactly.
there.
But now that I actually lied. The overlords do have speed, and that's because I must not have checked the layer in time. But speed is done, so the Hydras are gonna be able to move out on the map here. And I have to say that yeah, siege tanks need to be coming out. And Stardom is getting siege tanks. He's not gonna have siege mode for a while, so that there might be a little bit of time. But these, yeah, lots of
I'm glad
lurkers.
he's got the command center going. I think he could have got that a little bit sooner, but I mean, with Hydras, they can pressure you really quickly. So like, I don't blame him for being, a little bit defensive on that side.
No, it's also
Um,
because he had to throw down 4 turrets and 4 Goliaths because he saw the Spire. He couldn't afford to
True.
risk the Zerg not go if the Zerg wasn't going to go for Mutalisk. I'm sorry, let
Yeah.
me rephrase that. There was a chance that Zerg can go Mutalisk, and that would have outright killed Stardom if he didn't make
Yeah.
all those choices before throwing down the command center. So I
Zerg,
like that play from both.
Zerg tech switches can be very scary, and you're
Absolutely.
right.
I like that play from both players, opting not to go for Spire after ensuring that, after knowing that Stardom saw it, and then making the defensive choice, reacting to the Spire. And this I don't understand at all. Why is he moving out with these Hydralisks, picking up all these mines when he has Observer speed? I mean,
I don't know.
Overlord
That
speed.
Hydra just got rocked.
Yeah. And he has these 6 lurkers, and they're just chilling in the natural. Like, they're not hidden at all. If I mean, Stardom, I think he already used the scan. I think he's already aware of what's coming his way now.
Yeah. So this is an interesting position. Like, it's hard to tell what's gonna come
Ooh,
from out of
yes,
this.
yes. He got dropship. He got Overlord
Drop.
drop. This is the answer to the. This is what we were, I guess,
So this is
waiting
the
for.
progression.
Yeah,
I like it.
he needs.
But with lurkers, I mean, this is already a sizable mech army. There's not a lot to pressure the front simultaneously with this lurker drop.
Yeah, there's
So I
nothing.
think it'll get shut down pretty quickly. But we'll have to see how he reacts to it.
I mean, honestly, 6 lurkers is nothing to laugh at. If he barrows even in behind the gas or like inside the mineral line of the main, even if the SCVs run away, even if the tanks are pulled fast enough, he can still take out like a bunch of infrastructure here and be a severe pain for Stardom while taking his expansion at the same time. I would have loved to
Yeah.
see. Oh, and he's actually gonna go do the smart thing, and he's gonna split up his dropship. One side has, what is this? I can't count. 7 lurkers on one side and 2 lurkers on the other side. So this could be actually brutal if he times this really well. He's gonna force the run of
Yeah,
the
this is hard to deal with as a Terran. Dual
absolutely brutal.
drops,
Yeah,
very difficult.
nice. He's gonna force the SCVs to run away.
You can't safely Maynard to either base.
Oh, but he is putting up turrets and some mines in the main base, so he is familiar that with this concept. Like he's kind of ready for it. The front Overlord has two lurkers in it. It can't go down. Oh, that was such a bad
Oh my
move by
god,
him.
these turrets are doing work.
Yeah. Oh, the burrow is the burrow gonna be late? Yeah, and it's
There's
not gonna be.
three lurkers, four lurkers that have laid down. There's already tank there. I mean, this is getting shut down pretty good. The lurker at the natural did a lot of work. It got shut down, but I think the SCV count has been low from Stardom,
Mhm.
and it just even lower now after this attack. So
Yeah,
it's a tough spot.
it did do damage, but I don't think it did as much damage as it could have had Pro Forward been a little bit more careful with how he approached the situation. He flew in with 5 Overlords, and one of them was empty. He definitely could have used that empty one as the leading Overlord, the one that would have eaten all the turret shots. He would have had 2 more lurkers on the ground in the main base. And I think you have to think that the timing was a little bit off as well. By the time he managed to get that burrow off in the main base of Stardom, the 2 in the natural were already dead. You ideally want both mineral lines to be covered at the same time.
Yeah, but
And
looking at the worker count, it was a successful attack,
yeah,
and he's not under threat. I think at this point, unless he kind of just brazenly decides to counterattack, which he can. He actually can do some damage with this if he moved across the map really quickly. But after like a shock like that, I don't think a Terran's willing to move out so quickly.
yeah, one thing that we have to notice also is that Proford, during that time, it looks like he didn't macro whatsoever. I mean, he has 1,400 minerals. His third base is just now coming up. I think in that time period, I feel like he could have just let go of control for just a moment and thrown down some
Mhm.
hatcheries. Just send the drone out and tell it to make that hatchery. Worst comes to worst, it's not gonna make it. Like at least try to do something about it. I would have honestly sent out 2 drones and made 2 hatcheries because one at the third location and one at maybe at the bottom left, because with lurkers he's gonna be able to hold those positions for quite some time until Vessel is out.
Yeah.
So we are seeing another drop loaded up. I think I heard it coming here. Yep, there's 3 lurkers loaded up. It looks like he might be loading up some hydras as well. But one thing that's interesting to know is that mines are really good just for
Can we
spotting a
pause it
map.
for a sec?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, I'm just kind of looking at this position right now from Stardom, right? So he's got 25 SCVs. He doesn't. Let's see, this is the difficult part as Terran. Like, you got to scan, you got to look at the drone count, right?
Hmm.
And you also kind of estimate the army. So how does he feel right now? Does he feel like he's behind? Like I would feel like I'm behind, but looking at it, he's just established his third, right?
Hmm.
So is he really behind?
No,
Like
I
how
I don't think so, honestly. I
yeah, I
honestly
don't
wouldn't
think
say
so.
his army is scary. Zerg just threw away a bunch of money and resources in those. It was 9 lurkers total, and he had to invest 350 to get the dropship and the speed. So you have to feel that, despite the fact that Stardom lost a lot of SCVs and a lot of income, he really
Yeah.
didn't take a big hit onto army, whereas Pro Forward really did. His army is tiny. He has 5 Hydralisks and 3 lurkers inside 5 Overlords. That's pretty much the entirety of his army that he has available to him at this moment. So I think Stardom's position is not bad. I think it's pretty decent.
Okay, but like, what do you think about his standpoint right now, though? Does he
Oh,
feel like
his
he's in a decent
mentality,
position?
mentally, I
Yeah.
think he might be. He if
Look at his buildings; they're fucking on fire.
yeah, I think mentally he's probably a little bit scared right now, for sure. I mean, that did do a decent amount of damage. He doesn't know that Pro Forward didn't really capitalize on the damage he was doing. He doesn't, and he probably has to be thinking about conserving scans as well, because he doesn't have Vessel out yet. He has to be thinking about, oh, if another one of these comes and these turrets go down and I don't have any scan, then that will be really devastating. So he's probably not really aware of the position of the enemy right now very well.
Yeah.
And he also lost, like, I think 4 or 5 vultures at the front. Oh my god, stop walking around with these hydras without... Oh my god. Why are you doing this? Like he has speed overlords.
There's more.
Oh, that's so painful to see. Oh my god, dude.
So does he need to be droning up right now? Okay, before losing those hydras,
I mean,
does he need to be droning up?
I feel like he should be throwing down hatcheries, droning up, and getting hive. I mean, like, he has the money to do all 4 of those things at the same time, which is do the drop, and make hatcheries, and get hive, and drone up. He has the resources for that, but now this push is going to come out, and because of the fact that he's been losing armies so consistently, oh my god, these overlords are going to get picked off out in space. Ooh, that overlord had 2 lurkers in
Ooh.
it. There's 3 more lurkers. Oh wow, there's actually 5 more lurkers. Those are a lot
This
more
is a
lurkers.
great pickup. This is a great pickup.
And wow, and 2 more lurkers go down. Yeah, this is
Yeah.
absolutely brutal from
So how do
Pro.
you feel secure as a Terran? How do you make yourself feel secure? Like, do you need to do more turrets than what he has right now? Do you
I,
have to keep? Do you have to keep tanks, like 2 tanks at your main and 2 tanks at your nat?
hmm, it's hard to say. I think having the army in his natural is sufficient right now. Because he will be able to go back to his main quick enough to react. I like the fact that he has one mine here. I would like to see some more mines to prevent any drop from happening like very quickly. He definitely needs to be scouting more to see what the Zerg situation is, and I really can't help but feel that Pro Forward is. I don't know what happened to him, like why he's so far behind where he could
I
be
think
at
you
this
got
moment.
tunnel vision. You know, you get
Yeah.
tunnel vision on your attacks, and then you lose track as
Oh,
to like where you actually are in the game.
true. That's possible. I mean, he really just hasn't really been doing anything since he made that drop. You know, I mean, he lost those overlords. He hasn't been trying to clear mines with hydras and overlords. He's just been throwing them away. He has mines sitting right outside his natural that he could be clearing up. Like, he just doesn't seem to want map presence. And at the same time, he's not really investing in. I mean, he did make that extra hatchery, but he's not really macroing very well. I think that's what's really holding him back right now.
Yeah, and the same thing on Stardom's side too. He could add. He could probably be at 5x right now, pumping. You know what I mean?
True.
I don't know where his upgrades are doing well. Like he's been keeping up on that. I think they got delayed a little bit because of the drop, and it was a little bit
Hmm.
hectic there. But he's kind of got back on track with that, so that's good. But he could definitely be at 5 or 6 right now. Maybe building a third CC and trying to take that.
Yeah,
But it's
absolutely.
good. I mean, so far it's good. Like he's trying to like that was a shock. Like that was
Hmm.
a dual pronged attack, and it's hard to kind of refocus after that.
Hmm.
So props to him for kind of solidifying that. Pro Forward's making it a little bit easy for him by not
Doing
taking
anything,
third,
really.
like saturating third, taking a fourth. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he could have easily been on 4 base like 5 minutes ago, pro forward. He just really just dropped the ball after that first initial engagement. And I mean, Stardom, I mean, as the game is progressing, Stardom is looking at to be in a, excuse me, better and better position. I mean, he's up to like, what, like 10 tanks now? Like,
Hmm.
Lurkers are not going to be able to hold that off. And Vessel should be started soon. I mean, he has the science facility, he has the add-on for the starport. So once this
Yeah,
first vessel comes out, this is pretty much going to be an unstoppable death push, I have to feel.
yeah, and I would really like if these mines were cleared earlier. You know, instead of suiciding the Hydra, having the
Yeah.
Overlords with the Hydra,
And now
because
he's...
this is given Stardom so much peace of mind.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Absolutely.
Zerg needs to use their army mobility to keep Terran on their toes.
Yeah, not just
And right
that.
now, with all these mines, it's giving him so much map presence.
Yeah, not just that, but also every larva that is spent on army that just dies to mines means that there's less drones that are mining at that time. Showing the fact that you chose to go army instead of drones kind of should give Stardom a peace of mind in the sense that he knows that the economy of his opponent is not as amazing as it could be because he saw those Hydralisks and Lurkers being made. And then second of all,
Yeah,
losing those after, and then after that, losing all that army that you
but
made
that's a
it,
skill.
that's double.
It's a skill to evaluate the Zerg economy. You know.
Oh my god. Is he trying to go through this little gap with this whole mech army right now? Because I think that that's a mistake. I'm pretty sure it's possible. I'm pretty sure he can do it, but
He's falling asleep at the wheel.
yeah, right now the APM requirement of this game is starting to push on Stardom's buttons a little bit. But he does manage to wake up a little bit. He is going to move around now. And yeah, I really don't think that Pro Forward has anything that can handle this size of an army. It's just absolutely massive now. 2-2 is probably going to be finishing up soon. Yeah, it's almost that 2-2 time. And Vessel,
This looks like it's going to be tough to stop.
I think it's going to be practically impossible to stop unless Stardom throws away all these tanks right now.
Ooh,
Oh, here's the
sweet
Vessel.
up.
Oh my god.
This
Once,
is no. This is yeah. There you go.
yeah. This is
I
what he
mean,
should
you
have done in
probably
the first
could
place.
push all the way through without sieging, but like, you don't need to take that risk.
Yeah, absolutely
This
not.
is a massive push, though.
Yeah. He needs to make it happen faster, though, for sure. I mean, he needed to scan ahead, I think, first and foremost. Now that he has Vessel as well, he could have scouted with that a little bit. Oh my god, he's gonna try to drop on top of these tanks, but I don't think it's gonna work with the amount of Goliaths here. Yeah, the Goliaths are gonna
Yeah,
focus on the Overlords. The drops
and
not...
I'm looking at the float from Poor Forward. I'm hating it. Like, yeah, this didn't
3,000
need to
minerals.
happen.
I don't know
This
what
did,
Pro Forward's doing, honestly. Yeah, I don't mean to hate that hard, but like, there's no excuse for having 3,000 minerals at this point.
yeah, I mean he's like this is very good. Like being aggro as a Zerg, it's very important, and knowing how to take those I don't know what they call them, but engagers, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's the other part of solidifying your economy behind it, right? So that's where Pro Forward has to kind of push himself, and you'll see that, like, holy shit, now I have this fucking sick economy, I know how to defend it, and now I can tech up and fucking smash my opponent, right? You don't have to win in those early moments, and I
Absolutely.
think this is like just an inexperience thing where, like, okay, I've played early mid game so much because I don't get to late game.
Mm-hmm.
um,
That's a good
but I
point.
also know how to win, very effectively early and mid game, but I don't know how to win late game.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Definitely seems like with the four pool opener, it seems like he's way more comfortable in the early game and his late game. I mean, I don't know if he was flustered for whatever reason or if I don't know what it was, but he just really did not. It didn't seem like he was playing. It looked like he was playing with one hand, but he still had 150 APM. Like I don't really know what he was doing with all that APM because he wasn't macroing very well. He wasn't droning. He wasn't adding a lot of hatcheries. He wasn't expanding. He wasn't moving out very well with Hydras and Overlord. So it just felt like it was a lot of just wasted actions. I don't really understand what happened there. Um,
Yeah,
Definitely
tunnel
something.
vision for
Yeah,
sure. Like, he just doesn't have that habit of, okay, let's develop let's
economy.
comfortably develop the economy. Yeah,
Hmm.
because you always, like, you have a little bit of a paranoia as like a beginner player, and I know this because I started again in January.
Hmm.
You have a paranoia that any economic action that you take is going to get punished, but
Hmm.
it's not true as long as you know how to defend it and you know what's possible to come at you, right?
Hmm. All right, well, and now it's time to move on to game three of the series. It's going to be Pro Forward versus Stardom game three. Let's find out what map Pro Forward chose for this last game. And I wonder, now I'm really curious as to what build he's going to do this time because I have a feeling that he's going to have to cheese again because of after that last showing, he definitely needs to work a lot on his macro. If there was one thing that I would say to help him out after that game is just please work on your macro. Please, like for me personally, I understand how hard it is because my macro was bad, and it
Please,
used to be even
please.
worse. Like for me, it never enters my mind to look at my minerals, which informs me like, yeah,
Yeah,
it's time to spend some money. Like in game,
yeah,
I used to at least never look at my minerals, and then I'd go back to my main base and have 5,000 minerals on 5 gateways and be like, what the hell is going on? You have to train
yeah.
yourself to look at that mini map. Even if you don't have the rhythm of oh zealots are going to come out every 20 seconds or whatever, even absent
Okay.
that rhythm, you need to be cognizant of what your resources are.
Yeah. And the shit part about that is that when you look at your minerals, it's easy to be disappointed in yourself.
True.
But the point is, like, okay, whatever. Change the expectation a bit. You're still fucking learning, right?
Hmm.
You're over
Absolutely.
1,000 minerals. Yeah, okay, you're a little bit disappointed, but better to spend them now than fucking just GG, right?
Hmm. Well, speaking of spending minerals, we have Pro Forward at the top right, and he is spending minerals on drones. It looks like it's not going to be an
Hell
extremely early
yeah.
pool. So Pro Forward, not taking that last game to heart. He's probably going to try to bring the most. I was getting the music of the most epic Pokemon trainer of all time, says Stardom. Well, anyway, so yeah, Pro Forward top right, purple Zerg.
All right, and on the bottom right, this is Jade with the reversed ramp. It's Stardom, Arteran.
Yep. So the reverse ramp, definitely, I feel like it helps. It forced a lot of Terrans to go into the Rax FE just to have that upwards position on the map, to not have the downwards ramp become a factor in their gameplay. So I do expect to see a Rax FE from Stardom here, and I like this depot placement here because it does make the SCVs pop out a little bit sooner. They pop out to the right of the depot.
Yeah, it could be flush with the left side of
Yeah.
the CC, but
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right.
it's the right
It could be
idea.
slightly better, but it's a step in the right direction if, for sure. And you can actually do some decent sim cities with the depot here as well with the barracks in case if he does suspect that it's going to be an early cheese. But it looks like he's actually going to make the barracks on the low ground, and I'm not sure if I completely
There's a
agree.
gas with this pool.
True, good call. Yeah, so yeah, it looks like it was 9 pool gas. Yeah, it had to be.
This is this puts this puts the Terrans on edge. You know,
Absolutely.
doesn't matter how many games you played as Terrans. It doesn't matter if you're Kojit or Flash or whoever.
Hmm.
Not that it's like you can play so many games and there's still the possibility that they break through your SCV, clump or whatnot.
Hmm. So
Yeah.
I just want to say something real quick about this. So he is getting the Zergling speed, but one thing that you can do is I think it's at what 88, no, is it 88? No, at 82 minerals or 80 minerals, what you do, sorry, I was saying minerals, I meant gas. At 80 gas, right? You
You
start
take
thinking,
them off, right?
you start thinking about taking the drones off. So like the drone delivers the gas, your gas goes up to 88, you grab that
Yeah.
drone, send it to the mineral line. The next drone comes over, it goes up to 96, you grab that drone, send it to the mineral.
Yep.
And then the third drone comes out, and then you do the same thing. That way you get your economy back on track a little bit
Why
faster.
though? Why? Because if he went back in, right, then he would be pulling in like that 105 gas or 106 gas,
Hmm.
and the other guy would be pulling in the 112 gas if they went
Exactly.
back into the refinery. You don't need that, right? You need the 100,
Exactly.
so you can pull them off a little bit early.
Exactly. So unless Pro Forward goes for some one hatch layer shenanigans right now, that's exactly what he should be doing. Just a conceptual error at this point. And who knows, maybe he would have had enough minerals to make that extra batch of lings right now a little bit
He
sooner. Because
could
he
be
had,
going like one base lurker. I mean, that's a
eh,
possibility.
it is possible, yes. And actually, Stardom is went for a gas of his own, so it doesn't look like he is going to be going for the racks. If he had the fact that wait, there's no
No
marine.
marine.
How's that? How's he? Why is there no marine? How?
I don't
Why is he
know.
so confident?
Now it's building, and
He's making a
like it'll
bunker.
be out in time, but this is going to be really rough.
Yeah, he's making
Yeah,
a
the
bunker.
bunker.
I don't know about this positioning for the bunker though. The SCV, it's kind of far from the mineral line, so it doesn't really help there. The what's called it only really covers the gas on the side of the command center. Maybe I think
There's
he.
the lair though. The lair that could
Wow.
be. Oh my
Oh,
goodness!
wow.
It could be a one base lurker. There is one marine in the bunker, so he is okay for now. But if he gets enough lings in here, like he doesn't have to attack this.
Uh,
I don't agree with this.
no, absolutely not. I do like the fact that he picked off that marine, but he didn't need to be there. He can just stand. He can just camp the barracks to pick off the marines. And now that he has speed, he can do a lot of damage to the, what's called to the mineral line by just running around where this bunker is. I would have
It
liked,
looks like that's what he's going to be doing
yeah,
now. That's the smart choice. Although not going straight through the mineral line, maybe going behind and then on the
yeah.
bottom right there.
Yeah, this actually turned out to be really tragic for him in the end of it because there was a great SCV pull by Stardom. He glitched some of the lings and he's managed to split them up and then he cleaned them up really, really fast. But it looks like Pro Forward is going to keep pushing on with this. The layer is almost done. Hydrogen is done. It looks like it is going to be one hatch lurker, which could be
Yeah.
really devastating for Stardom. I don't think he got the scout off on that. He
Yeah,
is
and
trying
the
to.
fact he's done so much damage, and there's no add-on for the factory. There's a vulture coming out,
Hmm. There's
but
going to be nothing that he
with the
has.
speedlings, there's not a lot. You know, like it's this is like I'm giving 80-90% to Zerg right now.
Yeah, I mean, with no detection either. I mean, he tried to send out an SCV, which I like to see the fact that he did try to scout, but he's going to starport behind this. He's not going to have any detection whatsoever, and I don't understand why Stardom feels safe doing this without having gotten the scouting information off. You absolutely need to know what Zerg is doing, especially as a
Yeah,
result of this. Especially if you got four pooled already once. You know what I mean?
even with like a two hatch lurker, that comes very fast. I can't give you exact time,
Hmm.
but maybe 5 minutes, 5:30, right?
Yeah, something like that, most likely.
So like even that timing is scary as a Terran. So imagine one base lurker.
Yeah,
It's very tenuous.
It all right. So what I want to see from Pro Forward right now, though, is I want to see him bring the Hydralisks through the third base, because that would be how you can keep in him. But he's actually sending them back, so he's gonna reveal to Stardom potentially what exactly is gonna go on. But actually, if he goes through the high ground here, he's not gonna get caught this way either. Ooh, this is gonna be really dicey. It depends on how quickly Stardom can react. The lurkers are starting to be morphed now. We're seeing more lings being made in the main base. Oh, ooh! Hydra on the ramp kills off the
Solid. I like
yeah,
that decision. Very good
yeah,
decision.
yeah. And I wonder if Pro Forward is cognizant of these starports as well, because then he would need to start making Hydralisks for sure.
Yeah.
But these two lurkers, I mean, Stardom has to know at this point that if he saw those that
Oh
Hydralisk,
man, like we know what's coming. You know, it's a
yeah,
whole world of pain.
absolutely. Oh my God.
This wraith, you should treat it as a Corsair, right? You go to the base first, you scout, and then
Yeah,
you can snipe an Overlord.
absolutely. I mean, the Overlord's not gonna get anywhere anytime soon. Oh my God, this is gonna be. Oh, this is the prime position for these lurkers, and wow, damn, Denied. All mining is now
Yeah.
officially denied with no scanning, with no detection whatsoever. It's practically game over. Ooh, but I think in theory, I mean, if he makes enough vultures, I mean, if he makes enough wraiths, he could, in theory, pick off all the drones. Maybe. Man, that would be so interesting to see if he tries to try to have a floating victory right now. And it looks like he might be
Yeah.
thinking about it.
I mean, hypothetically, yeah, but he could build
Oh,
hydras very easily.
yeah, he lost the wraith too, and to the hydralisk. So yeah, Stardom is pretty much
This
out
is
of
just a
options now.
horrible. Yeah, like you need that second scout, I think, or somehow just keep tabs on what's going on.
Hmm.
Like with going wraith, like when they're speedlings, like that's already trouble. Without a wall, like that's just nutty, man.
Yeah.
So I think that was just again
Wow.
like maybe he just didn't know what to expect.
Yeah, I mean,
But with speedlings, you need a wall, or you need some solid defense, and then going wraith, it's just
I don't think it was the best choice at all,
yeah,
especially on
just
this
get
map.
smacked. You got smacked, right?
Yeah.
Like, but he's not going to do that again. I guarantee you.
Especially on this map, I really feel like the Rax FE would have put him in so much of a better position than what he ended up going for. I mean, it would be probably a little bit harder to hold the 9 pool speed, but once he did hold that, he would have he would have room to fall back on against these lurkers. But instead, these lurkers just ran directly into his main base and burrowed there. And
Yeah.
the fact that he didn't get a scout off for so long means that he didn't get to see even the Hydralisks to confirm that it was one hatch lurker. So definitely.
Here's what I would recommend to Stardom. Look at that replay. Look at the time that the lurkers can arrive at your base, and then look at what your potential unit composition, bunker, whatever it is that you need in place for that timing.
Mhm.
And that way you can feel safe with strategy. Like if it is wraith, make sure you have that bunker and turret ready to defend so that you can do the wraith, right?
Mhm.
That's the fun part. That's the kind of like theoretical part. And I mean, I got to give shout out to Drag for sure, my coach, because he's kind of built in that kind of thinking into how to analyze your own play. And
Mhm.
looking at like your losses is very important. And looking at okay, I'm gonna start your own single player game and see what you can have at that certain time,
Mhm.
right? With a different kind of build, right? Or maybe
Mhm.
the same build, but can you have a bunker
Yeah.
in time for those lurkers, right?
Or what if you cut this SCV here? Can you pop out an extra marine or something like of that
Yeah.
nature?
Like I'm not great at that because like I feel like there's too many options. Again, it's like the ADHD. It's like, do I cut SCV here? Do I cut SCV there? But it's like, okay, if I feel comfortable enough, okay, for example, there's a TVP and this guy was doing a fast 3 base on 2 gate plus arbiter, right? So then I'm looking at his goon count and I'm like, at 8 minutes, if I have 8 tanks and I push with like 2 or 3 factories, I can walk over him. And
Mhm.
then so the next game I did that and it worked. You know what I mean? So, but what I did beforehand was I tested a build where I did an ACAD after first factory so that I could scan what he's doing and then react accordingly. And then at 8 minutes, I had the right amount of tanks and I pushed out and it worked really well. So
Mhm.
that works really well, testing your own kind of builds for those timings that you're kind of susceptible to.
I lost you for a second there. Oh shit. All right. So it says that 11 servers are unavailable due to a temporary outage. Let me see if shit, this would suck really badly. Dark Matter, if you're in the chat, maybe we can go on Skype and try to figure it out there. In the meantime, I'll just restart Discord, see if that helps. Let's see. Is the stream still going? Okay, let me see. Hold on. Yeah, this sucks. So hold on, guys. I'm gonna do some technical difficulty stuff. Okay, Task Manager, Discord, gonna kill you. Okay, let's see if it runs better this time. Let's see if it works. We can pray. Says it's connecting. Shit. Oh yeah. It can't be me, can it? Is my internet dead? Let's see. Okay. All right. All right. So I'll just fuck. I'll call you here. Oh, okay. I have to send you a friend request. All right, we're going to take a quick intermission for technical difficulties, but in the meantime, I'm going to say that I give 2 stars to Stardom. Definitely needs to scout more. Definitely think that he sat back a lot in the second game. He could have probably moved out and done a lot more damage earlier. Maybe done something more interesting, like in the mid game, like before. Pretty much Pro Forward donated that game more than Stardom won it. I think. But he did respond well to the lurker drops, so I have to give props for that. Um, the 4 vulture run by was an interesting build. I think it could be optimized a little bit. You don't need 6, and you don't need to have speed done before you move out. I also feel like you when you ran in, you could have microed a lot better. You didn't really focus too many drones down. You didn't try to run around and take advantage of the fact that you're faster than the Hydralisks. So overall, I'm gonna have to give you 2 stars, especially given the way that the third game and first game went. So other than that, for Pro Forward, I can't give you more than 2 stars as well, simply because of the fact that the macro in the second game was just so absent. You pretty much won on 2 cheeses, which is you can't say shit. It's part of the game. But you definitely need to work on your mid and late game a lot more if your cheese fails, you wanna have a backup plan, way to stay in the game and not just bank up 3,000 minerals. But I did like the ballsy build in this third game, especially the first game. I think that 4 pool on a 4 player map is absolutely stupid. It should never work. It's just Stardom didn't scout, so don't recommend going 4 pool on FS anymore. Do think that the lurker build was a much better choice there, and Stardom just didn't play that out very well. So that was pretty much a free win for Pro Forward as well. Wow, when I'm sitting here talking by myself, I talk way too much and way too fast, I feel like. So I'm gonna wait for Dark Matter to come back. I'm gonna type it to him in case he can't hear me. When you come back, I can't. I have to read it out loud what I say. We will figure out the voice situation. Skype or direct call. We need to try it. Let me know. And I'm going to take a 5 minute break myself while he's away. So in the meantime, I'm going to put on some tunes and we'll be right back. Actually, I'm going to put on some Brood War. I mean, that's what you guys came here to see, so that's what I'm going to show you guys. And we'll be right back. Oops, I opened up my own window. That's dumb. Okay. New window. Brood War. YouTube. Fuck, come on. I can't type in. I can't type. I'm stupid. Whose highlight should we play? Bisu highlight. Alright. Alright, I'll be back in about 5.
그런 총 승률을 가지고 있습니다. 그리고 프로토스전 9연승 중이라는 것, 마재현 선수를 프로토스라는 종족으로 꺾기는 거의 불가능해 보이거든요. 자, 김태균이, 김태균이 첫 번째 경기에서 2를 낼 것 같은데요. 자, 김태균이 갖다 부었거든요. 이 한 방이 물론 러프가 그러면서 포진. 이게 뭡니까? 데미지를 줘야지. 안 그러면 멀티를 포기할 의미가 없거든요. 자, 김태균. 이거 맞히기. 이 경력이 다인가요? 김태경 선수. 첫 번째 경기 완벽한 경. 마리오가 완벽한 경고 이 경기. 지금 김태경이 최대. 네. 자, 여기를 썰고 있습니다. 잠깐만 잡으면서. 지금 하이템포 통계 맞기. 시작했습니다. 이거는. 이게 이거는. 정글의 숫자가 많으면은 정글이 쏘아야 됩니다. 정글이 쏘을 수가 없어요. 그런데 너무나 이게 김태균의 분위기가 너무 좋은데요. 여기도 여기. 이게 어떻게 이렇게 되나? 딱 오버로드가 없어요. 없습니다. 이게 뭐지? 시간 창조를 하는 김태균. MS는 강민과 이게 무슨 일입니까? 말이 안 나오네요. 정말로 이거는 성공권이 깨집니다. 아무도 이거 됐습니다. 2.1초 보고 컨트롤을 막아야 되는데 지금 너무 많이 되겠습니다. 김태경 정말 이 정도까지였나라는 생각이 자꾸 드는데요. 결정탑니다. 이렇게 잘할 수는 없습니다.
Alright, hello and welcome. I'm back. I'm gonna lower this a little bit. Let's see what we can do about this Discord situation. Okay. Um, Instead of PMing you, I'm just gonna send you my Skype information. Fuck it. Anyone who wants to add me, they can add me. I was actually the person who what was it called, when SGS StarCraft Generations clan was available. I was the one that added everyone to the Skype chat, so I have like 1,000 people on my thing. So let me see. Oh, I think. Wait, what? Oh my God, no! Did I just do that? Whoops. Okay, no problem. All good. All good. We're fine. My Skype is. Yeah, this Discord definitely sucks. Sucks that it shut down, but it's great that it works at all. I guess sometimes. All right, so I'm gonna wait for Dark Matter to add me, and then we will continue this broadcast. So let's think about while we're waiting for Dark Matter to connect to me. Let's think about what Stardom could have done better in that situation. I really feel like his response build wasn't the best. I don't think two port Wraith was the best option. It definitely left him very wide open, and especially when you don't get the scouting information that you want. Um, it's not going to work for you very well. So now I got. I'm not going to say your name out loud because that's dumb. I'm going to call him now. So. I'm calling. What are you doing? Why you don't answer me? Next game will be starting soon, so I'm sorry about that, Fizz Cat. I'll have to go with or without him, I
The
guess.
person whom you're trying to reach is currently unavailable. Please leave a message after the beep.
Seriously? What? Come on. No, don't play games with me, Dark Matter. Okay. Dark Matter, do not play me like this. Okay, you know what? I'm probably just gonna start and I'm gonna wait for him to call me.
Hey,
Hello?
man, can you hear me?
Yeah, what's up?
Heck, all right.
Ho-
Yeah, for some reason, I have my MacBook open for the Twitch chat,
Uh-huh.
and yeah, I was calling there for some reason. I'm on my PC for the Brood War.
Oh, that's really strange. All right. All right. Well,
Good.
I guess it worked out. So let's move on to the next game. Oh shit, I have your full name on on my stream. Whoops. Hope that's okay.
That's okay.
All right,
Yeah, you can stop.
it's too late now. I removed it though, so anyone who wants to stalk you, they had to be here for those like 30, 40 seconds.
Okay.
All right,
All
well,
right. Well, I welcome you.
sorry about that. All right, we're moving on to the last series now. Is gonna be Elmaster versus Python, and I'm gonna die laughing if oh shit, oh the Skype thing, I can't. Oh wait, maybe if I put it here. Oh no, oh no, Broodwar.
Yeah, I'm having trouble with this thing too. Like it refuses to close.
Oh god, oh god. I've been here before. I've had these problems. I remember this. I remember this very well. All right, so Brood War. Is it dead? Did I kill it? Brood War. Brood War.
Oh,
Uh,
off. Why did like? Wow.
what?
Just Discord. It's disappointing.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but I mean it's a free service, so you can't really complain too much, I think. And it's also like web-based or something, so. Mm,
Yeah, but like I mean, I'm using the native the native. It's just their servers are down for some reason.
mm.
So are you able to get into Brood War like full screen properly here? You
Yeah.
got that overlay. Click the X.
Does it work? Will we? Let me see.
Yeah, just close the X. You'll be fine.
Okay. No, my Brood War became windowed again.
Yeah, no shit. We got four Alexes on Dragon Herb. Finally
Really?
got ridiculous. Yeah.
My dad's name is Alex, also.
It
It's a popular name, apparently.
is, man.
All right, I'm gonna have to restart Brood War because apparently trying to close the call window inside Brood War made my Brood War go window mode, and it can't unwindow mode itself. So
Science.
yeah, I don't really. I feel like computers are just so complicated, and that even the people who make computers don't really know what the hell is going on sometimes because some of this stuff just makes no sense the way it works or doesn't work. Anyway, we are now going to get back right on track. We're going to the last series, which is going to be Elmaster versus Python, and
Yeah.
it's going to be. Is it if it's not 1.18? Oh, we're all good.
So
1.
I'm gonna say the viewers that stuck around, I'm gonna give you bonus points somehow, one way or another. CPL points, stars.
Absolutely true. Yeah, thank you guys for everyone who stuck around through the technical difficulties. It really wasn't very much on our end. We can't really do anything about Discord just shutting down, unfortunately. But we are back on track now, so let's get right into the games. Elmaster versus Python. Python, Curiosity earlier said, the best Zerg in the league, and honestly is making that very much a possibility. From the games that I've seen from him. I mean, beating Fazek
Yeah,
is no small feat. He's gotten very solid over the past 6 months. I mean, I remember seeing him play like a year ago or so, or maybe 8 months ago, and
mm,
it was bad. And he's made tremendous leaps and bounds throughout the course of this league.
I think so.
And Elmaster, he's very mechanically gifted. Protoss used to be his main race. His PvZ a little bit shaky, especially since he's been playing so much Zerg. But
Mm.
he's still no pushover, and he has been a mainstay in the community for about at least 6 years now, I think, in the DRCR community. So it's gonna be a interesting series and a tough battle for sure for Python. So let's find out what happens.
Okay.
Oh, I forgot that you already know. You already saw the replays. Well, I'm gonna find out what happens. You can think
I'm gonna
ahead.
pretend.
Absolutely true. All right, so in the top right we have the purple Protoss L Master.
And DNH being a kind soul and hosting for these guys. That's really nice to see.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I mean, Paisan, he's a teammate. Like I said, like even within the 2 3 months that we've been playing together, it just kind of amazing incremental improvements. So looking forward to see like where he's at because this is recent. This was last week, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, I'd like to see where he's up to date and same thing with Elmaster. I think you guys are active. Like we're probably the most active teams within the league.
Hmm.
I know most teams are pretty active, but like there's just maybe like just a little notch ahead of
Absolutely.
on that active side. So it's good to see that, and Elmaster streams too. So like he's playing a lot of games, and I
Hmm.
think laddering is important just as much as friendly games within your teammates.
True.
So I think both these players are pretty active on that side. So
Yeah.
it's an exciting game for sure.
Yeah, Python is on the bottom left as the orange Zerg, and the first thing I want to note about what he did do the larva trick for all the larva, the first like 9 of them or so, to move
Okay.
all the way to the other side of the hatchery, but he didn't do it with his last larva because it makes sense to keep the overlord on the outside of your hatchery and therefore closer to the other main base that he's going to be scouting now. He could have, in theory, done these larvae as well, the ones that are making the drones now. He could have brought them over to the left side. And then usually after that, at least me personally, I stop doing the trick because it becomes there's too much other stuff for you to do. But I just wanted to
Yeah.
point out that this is, something that's kind of cute, but it actually does give you a noticeable boost in economy, and it's a great thing to add to your
Yeah.
repertoire. And since you're not doing very much in the beginning anyway, it's definitely a good thing to do. Meanwhile, we see Elmaster. He went for the forge first, and he's probably going to throw down the cannon since he didn't scout the Zerg opponent in time. Actually,
Yep.
you know what? He sees the hatchery going down and loved this block from him. Oh, very nicely done here. We're all the way up to 400 minerals now. But he ends up missing it. Doesn't delay it for too long. And Lings are going to be out of the way on the way now. We're going to see 2 Lings. I like this from him. It's a very economical play. You really don't need more than 2 Lings to kill the first probe. And it's not like adding Lings will make it if the person microing the probe is really good at it, adding extra lings makes it a little bit more difficult, but he's still going to be able to stay alive. So 2 Lings is just pretty much just ensuring that if any shenanigans do come his way, he's ready for it. He scouts with the drone though that he sees the one cannon there, so very standard opener from both players here.
Yeah, and it's I mean it's economical on both sides.
Hmm.
Was that a 9 pool? I'm pretty sure it was, right?
No, I think it was Overpool.
No, it was Overpool.
Yeah,
Okay, Overpool.
Overpool is a
So
good
yeah, I
build.
mean, yeah, Overpool's solid. I mean, from what I hear, they're doing 11-10 as well, and
Hmm.
that's just kind of helps versus the gate first, which has become popular.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, so I mean, I do like the cannon for the forge fast expand. It feels very like economical, and it feels like there's a little window there where it's very powerful with the zealot timing attack.
Hmm.
I think you might get the same effect with the gate first, plus some additional early pressure.
Yeah.
Um, but the early pressure is a little bit more, it depends on your control, right?
Absolutely. The early pressure is actually really useful because of the fact that it forces the Zerg to spend more early larva on drones when they have less larva available. It's a completely different approach to how you do damage. So even just by going gateway first, you're already doing economic damage just from the fact that you went gateway first. So, but Elmaster did not opt to go for that. It is definitely a much more demanding style of play, mechanically speaking. And if you lose your first couple of zealots, you end up, slightly behind. And I do think that you get your tech faster. Like it might seem counterintuitive, but you get your tech faster going forge first, because you don't
Yeah,
invest all those earlier minerals into zealots.
right. Because you're making like 3 4 zealots, right?
Hmm. Exactly. In the meantime, we see that Python did take the third base at the near base, which has become a lot more popular nowadays. In the past, a lot of Zergs would take the natural and then use that natural to get their 4 gases up. So this looks to be a much more modern take on the ZVP builds here. It does look like it's going to be 5 hatch before layer. At least that's what it appears to be. And he is making up quite a bit of money as well, so the hatchery definitely could have been earlier here, I think. Yeah, it's probably going to be six hatch most likely now that I'm looking at the way the SimCity is going to be going inside the third base of Python. This is a
Okay.
style. This is the style that I've seen him do before.
Yeah.
The reason why it works so well is because because you have so much larva and you make so much army, you really don't need a lot of static defense. So it's going to be
Yeah,
interesting.
you power up on drones quite a bit, and because it's forge first, especially,
Hmm.
he's quite safe.
Exactly. And yeah, so he's going to go Hydra Den. It's going to be a lot of Hydras in the early game, kind of getting the map control. And for Protoss, there's really two options in how to handle this. Ideally, you want to either get your third or off of about two or three gateways before the Hydralist numbers become oppressive, or you go for about, I don't know, six or seven or eight gateways, and you try to reclaim the center of the map forcefully. Try to pressure the Zerg a little bit, force them to continue making Hydralisks while you take your third after that. So it's going to be interesting to see which direction Elmaster opts for.
Okay.
His first Sair is out. Should be rallied directly to. Oh nope. Yeah. So now he's gonna. Yeah. What I like to do is I just rally the first Sair directly to the enemy main base or enemy natural just to check. But it looks like he's gonna be going for the Overlord first, and I don't really agree with this. It's not like
Right. You're
it's not
supposed
like
to like not supposed to, but like it's standard to scout. Looks like he's switched his mind now,
yeah.
changed his mind. Yeah, scout. Make sure that you're not gonna get rushed. Right. That's
Three hatch
kind of
Hydra bust or
the
something like that.
idea. Exactly. Oh, even though he saw the four hatch, but you can
True.
still do
You're right.
four hatch Hydra.
You're right. The other thing that you want to check for is if there's Spire or Lair and when the second gas timing is and stuff like that. See the composition, see how many larvae are available. That's something that I only learned actually recently because usually I would think like, I'm flying around with my Corsair, I see Lair, I see Spire, and I see Hydra Den, and I see Hydralisks, and then they get Mutalisks. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like, oh, there's
Yeah.
absolutely no way to know what they're doing, but the key is counting the larva. And if they're saving the larva, unless their macro is just really bad, if they're saving the
Hmm.
larva, that means that it's going to be an air-heavy army, because otherwise they could just be spending that larva on drones and hydralisks.
I got tricked hardcore like that in his TVZ because their macro was really bad. So like I'm seeing like three larvae on all hatches,
Hmm.
and then it's lurk. I'm like, what?
Yeah, it's sometimes it's like the Idra thing where like you're so bad that it messes with your play, but
Yeah,
that's a
you're
cop
just
out
bad.
excuse. Yeah.
I
So we
hate that. It's shit.
Yeah, well, we do see the speed lot timing hitting very nice timing. The Zealots this gets speed very quickly. +1 should be finishing up soon as well. I feel like it was just a little bit off, but +1 is actually really not that important against Hydralisk. It's more against the Lings that where they become extremely useful. A little bit of
Yeah.
miss micro there. Very nice SimCity here from Python. Very nicely done here to hold that off. Um, the third
Yeah.
base is also not very vulnerable to Zealots at this point, so. Uh, I mean, it's not like Elmaster lost a lot in that, so I think that was a pretty neutral exchange. Something that could have gone a lot worse for Python, but didn't because of strong play.
So he's opted for three Corsair. So this means that well, Protoss can go for more Corsair than that, right? They can kind of keep pumping them out.
I feel like at that point, you should be getting. It's either just one, and if you feel like you don't need it, but if you're going to invest in Sarah, you need to either have five with +1 air, or you need to have six because that's the number at which you start killing Scourge before they can hit you. Either five
Okay.
+1 or what's called or six total. But I really don't agree with him making the three Sarah by themselves. I feel like that was a big waste of money. He's not going to be
Well,
able
it's
to.
still it forces Zerg to be defensive. They still have to look out for their overlords. They can't necessarily move out with their hydras until they have a sizable amount, which looks like it's about now. I
Mhm.
mean, if you do go into that heavy Corsair, it forces them to not be able to go into Muta, isn't that right? Is there an
Well,
advantage to that, or I don't know.
No, what it is the Zerg is pretty much going to have to make Mutalisks eventually to snipe the High Templar. So having the Sair then is of course is pretty much mandatory, but I'm saying that he should have delayed his Corsair production at the very least because you can
Okay.
see how much later his Templar and his Storm is now. I feel
Yeah,
like
he's got a good number though, eh?
yeah, eh? And
Canadian over here.
yeah. If he doesn't have Storm right now, this could actually be brutal. Yeah, he does have the Storm. Good Storm there. Very solid chunk. But this is kind of what I'm talking about. Like, he added the gateways late is what I really was getting at, is the fact that he's not going to have an army to move out with anytime soon, and he's not going to be able to take his third base for quite some time. But the Corsairs are being quite annoying now. They are attacking these overlords here. They don't, I don't think they managed to get one though. No, they did not. And the other
So
thing
is
is too with
Python able to take a fourth right now?
uh, yeah, I think in theory he might be able to, but I don't think it's absolutely necessary. And also, I mean, he did eat a pretty juicy storm, and I think he knows at this point that Elmaster is not expanding, which means that Elmaster is going to go for a really big army in the mid game.
Okay.
So I don't think it's the safest choice, and it's not absolutely necessary either.
Right.
He is going for the Spire, which I think is a good choice. But going back to those Sayers, I mean, he had the three Sayers, and there was like six Overlords that were undefended, and Python still managed to scare them off before a single Overlord died. And Python isn't forced into making any Spore. So really, these three Sayer haven't really accomplished much of anything, in my opinion, and that's why I think it was a little bit extra. So
Well, you know what? Like at a minimum, it's a multitask pressure,
that's
right?
true. Yeah, it's an APM tax on the opponent for sure.
Yeah.
And so we do see lurkers coming out of Python now, which is the natural way that things are supposed to progress. And at the same time, we see Elmaster making his dragoons already as well. So very progressing very normally. The observatory looks like he sent the probe to make it, but it didn't get thrown down, which is kind of unfortunate. You definitely don't want to let the Zerg have any map control with his lurkers at any point. That's how you get the infamous lurker contain. But it looks like Python is actually quite content to sit back in his natural for now, and it looks like he's going to be sending just those Hydralisks to his fourth base, make some lurkers up there on the high ground.
Okay. So he's got the +1. He's got +2 almost on the way.
Hmm.
At what point do you start adding, the armor and the shield upgrades?
I feel like because PvZ is such a gas-intensive matchup, I mean, you always want to have more Templar and more Archons, and eventually you need to start making Observers and Dragoons as well, especially in the mid-game against Lurkers. I feel like that's something that you can hold off until like very late in the game. I honestly don't get
Okay.
my second Forge until I already have +3, and then you start getting your +1 armor on the main Forge, and then the second Forge you can start getting your shields, because once you start getting into the Archon heavy compositions, that's when shields actually start to matter a little bit. Um,
Hmm.
but we're not at that point yet. I mean, he just now started mining his third gas, and like I said, he should be getting a gas taxed pretty heavily soon.
Yeah, but he is. I mean, it is substantial that he's 2-0, and Python right now is 0-0.
Well, he's 0-1 on the Hydras, which is quite standard because when you're going for
0-1. Okay.
yeah, when you're going for a Hydra heavy composition, I recently learned this is you actually go for ranged attacks because of the fact that armor doesn't really benefit the Zealot Hydralisk interaction as much as it does the Zergling Zealot interaction. It's better to have a ranged attack because it benefits both your lurkers and your Hydralisks.
Okay.
Yeah, so Elmaster, I guess, looking to try to bust here, but he doesn't have his observers out yet, and he's gonna have a really hard time busting either of any of these bases, really. So Elmaster, I think at this point, this is when I like to take my fourth or maybe even my fifth base, because when you have this map control in the middle as Protoss, that's when you need to expand and really capitalize and get your gases up. Um,
Yeah. He's got solid. Well, he's got the one Templar, but looks like Python's not willing to pressure that just yet.
yeah,
And he's got like the right side kind of controlled, especially with his army moving and threatening the top left.
What I would like to see is him using his Sayer to scout more, though, because they've just been parked out here. Instead of running his whole
Yep.
entire army to kill one Zergling at one base, that's what kind of allowed Python to move out with some of these links right now. They're not going to be very effective, but that's the kind of opening that makes you lose map presence, and the kind of opening that prevents you from taking that quick fourth.
So what base do you take right now? Like
As
Elmaster
Protoss?
looks like he's moving on the top section right now, right? And he's kind of threatening, and he's willing to threaten top left, and I think that's a nice play, keeping your army mobile. So does he take 12 or does he take bottom right?
I would say that bottom right is the better long-term goal. You do want to make sure that you do get the other two mains, but 12 o'clock would be a really good pickup for him as well, because that would actually help you a lot in the upcoming map split situation, which happens very often in cases like this where the Zerg is playing so defensively in the mid-late game. One thing that has to be noted though is that because Python went for the relatively easy to secure fourth base, being the high ground, he's not going
Yeah.
to be able to get up to five base very quickly. But that's not as big of a deal because 4 gas is really the magic number in PvZ.
This engage
Yeah,
was poor.
for Python, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, Elmaster got kind of lucky in the sense that he came in almost flanking simply because of the wall affecting his his walking, but Python definitely should not have been caught out there. It was a massive loss for him of army for
Yeah,
no
he
reason.
didn't need to be out there. There was
Yeah.
nothing out there for him to do.
And we see Elmaster taking his fourth base now. I really feel like the situation hasn't changed much from like 3 minutes ago when I said that he should be taking his fourth base now. You see what I'm saying? Like he still has the same amount of map control. Yeah, he just won an engagement, but it's not like that army would have been able to prevent this fourth base 3 minutes ago either. So this is one thing for Elmaster to think about. He could have definitely been working on his fourth and fifth already at this point. Get that
Yeah.
nice leg up in the economy.
So like that's why he like I like that he's moving his army around, right? I don't think he can really pressure top left,
Ooh,
or what do we call that? 11 o'clock.
yeah, you
Is this
can't.
a big counter right now?
Yeah, this could be really devastating for him. The Templar aren't there yet. I'd like to leave 2 Templar from my main army when I expand somewhere. Like, I send my whole army to secure it, and then I leave 2 Templar there. Like, I shift deselect them. But these storms could be really important. Nice storm there,
Oh,
picks up a lot of
nice.
links. Really good storm there, too. But with this swarm is probably going to take out this fourth base entirely. And this is what happens when the
Yeah.
Templar aren't there in time.
That was really clutch finishing that second swarm there because he was
Yeah.
targeting the necks before the cannons were down.
Yeah.
If
Now
he didn't have that swarm, it would have been yeah, they would have been toast.
Yeah, what he should have, what I really would have liked to see him do here, though, is really finish targeting that Nexus. Like, it manages to live only because of the fact he focused down the 2 cannons that were coming up that were really not going to stop him from killing that Nexus. If he had just kept attacking it, Cracklings do so much damage so quickly, the Nexus would have been down. Would have hurt Elmaster a lot. But the
Okay.
good thing that Python is doing behind this is he is taking his fifth base. I would love to see him advance his Lurkers and his Lings and throw down a Filer there as well to help secure this fifth base that he's taking.
Yeah, the upgrades have slowed down too. He's been about a minute late, maybe more, on
Protoss.
3-2. Zerg.
Oh, Zerg? Yeah, Zerg caught up pretty quickly, which is kind of typical in the what's called in the ZVP matchup. Like they can be behind for a little bit, but then once they start getting multiple evolution chambers, they're gonna catch up quite quickly to
Yeah.
the Protoss. And Elmaster himself, I mean, he's been at +3 for a little bit of time as well, and hasn't started the armor upgrade either. So
Yeah. And
again,
again, I like this movement. I like this army movement. It's kind of marauding around. It's interesting that Zerg is the swarm, but it's kind of a defensive play, and that's where their strength is, right? In ZVP.
yeah, Plague is used more often as the aggressive play. But one thing to note here, I mean, he's gonna walk right into this fifth base and snipe all these lurkers and scourge before they get a chance to burrow. But at the same time, Python has a drop 3 Overlord drop already at the base of Elmaster. If he did this drop right now, I feel like that would be really crucial. But I think he's more interested on making sure that he keeps at least his fourth base alive. So we do have the
And there's
drop.
a drop here, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if the natural was really the best option. I mean, there is really nothing here to defend besides these cannons and links, but dropping in the main and taking out some infrastructure would have been much more effective, I think. You know, taking out the Templar archives, taking out the robotics. That's the kind
Yeah.
of move you usually want to see.
It's again that risk reward piece where it's like, okay, this is an immediate win, but it's not as great as the other win, but it's also riskier because maybe there's something else there that I don't know. Maybe
True.
there's a reinforcement goon army that's gonna snipe all my overlords. So I don't blame him for it, but yeah, there could have been maybe something more, right?
Yeah, and I do like the fact that well, Python is now going up to got his Ultralisk upgrade, so he should be starting to pump a lot of those. He is incredibly rich right now. He has 73 drones, very strong economy coming out of him. And
Yeah.
once again, the same thing that we said about the fourth base of Elmaster, we can say the same thing about the fifth. It is definitely a little bit late. Nice swarm here, nice lurkers. Swarm and lurkers, that's exactly the aggressive combination of swarm that you like to see. But with the Reavers out here, very soon it's going to be practically impossible to bust this.
Okay, so do we want to pause it right now?
Go ahead.
Okay. So I mean, what's your analysis right now from Elmaster's point? Like he lost. It looks like he's got a large army. He's up on supply. He lost his nat, but he still got 60 probes.
Yeah.
He didn't really lose any major tech buildings.
Well,
Yeah.
I think I like Python's position a little bit better. I mean, he has so much money in the bank. He's soon going to have all of his Ultralisks fully upgraded. Well, not fully, but very highly upgraded. He already got the Ultralisk armor, and he is getting a triple Evo of the Sauron Zerg style evolution, whereas Elmaster's still going to be working off of that one forge. Actually,
Yeah.
losing this natural is actually quite a big deal. If you think about it, he's on 2 mineral lines compared to the 4 of Python, and it looks like Python's thinking about taking his fifth back again. And this goes all the way back to what I said earlier about Elmaster taking the fourth very late. Well, not very late, but later than he could have. And the fifth now is especially late. It's like if the fourth was late, then the fifth would be a little bit late. But now the fourth was late, and then the fifth was extra late. So he could have been in a much better position going into this situation right now.
Okay. So it's at almost 19 minutes, and he's taking the fifth. Is that
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
He could have been. He
So
could have been on it much sooner.
who's more cost efficient? I mean, this is obviously gonna change according to the situation, but I'm gonna say Zerg is more cost efficient on attacking because of Swarm.
Yeah.
Is that right?
I mean, that was true up until recently because up until the Reaver got here, the first few attacks were definitely very nice. But if you notice that last Lurker push was definitely not cost effective for him. He lost like 4 Lurkers, the Defiler, and a bunch of links to pretty much a Storm and Cannons.
Okay.
It's going to become increasingly hard for him to do any kind of busts outright on the front of these bases. I feel
Okay.
like he's going to transition more to doing drops and hopefully taking out some tech structures. But Ultralisk are, of course, going to make it very hard for Protoss to win out in the open as well.
So how does just another last point here, which I'm getting to, kind of leading to, is how does Elmaster get an edge again? Can he attack top right cost efficiently after defending his fourth?
I think it would be almost impossible for him to take out top left the way it is right now with the Defiler, Swarm, and Lurkers here. I would say that there's 3 crucial things that he can do that could really cement his position, really give him a really nice position. The first one would be to do drops of his own. Like if you made a shuttle and 4
Yeah.
DTs and dropped inside the main base of Zerg right here. I mean there is army outside the natural, but it's enough. 4 DTs is enough to snipe the evolution chambers, which gives you a big boon going into the late game because it delays their upgrades while your +3 is going to reign supreme for longer. He could
Yeah.
also snipe the Ultralisk Cavern or the Pool or the Defiler Mound. All these tech structures do, they're very crucial for late
There
game
are a
Zerg.
lot of tech structures that are undefended.
Exactly, and that's why Zergs back in the day they used to spread out their tech a lot more. They used to keep like the Spire in one base, the Hydra Den in another base, and we see that a little bit, but not as much. But yeah, DT drop would be really good here. Maybe a Storm drop or two to force some eggs into being drones. But the other
And they're both pretty rich, aren't they?
yeah. The second thing that I would suggest for Elmaster to do would definitely be to prevent Zerg from taking a 5th base. Because of the fact that Zerg went for the relatively safe 4th, the downfall for Protoss is that they can't really punish that 4th. The upside is that that there's no 5th behind it. So
Yeah.
keeping Zerg on 4 bases here would be a really strong play. And of course, I think if he took 12 o'clock, that would be really good for him as well. So that's the 3 things: harassment, taking 12, and preventing Zerg from expanding. That's the 3 things he needs to do.
That makes sense to me.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. Your thoughts are my thoughts today, because I don't play this.
Yeah, it's
matchup.
true.
But I
Oh.
really like that analysis. It makes sense to me because like I think at this point, yeah, losing that nat did suck, and this 5th, might feel late. I mean, Sari is my the assistant coach at DNH, and he's saying the gas is really important.
Yeah.
So losing that at the nat, perhaps because of Archons, because of Templar, you want that gas. So like, it feels like there needs to be a counter punch, or else you're falling a little bit behind, right?
Absolutely.
So that top left attack was like, okay, is that the counter punch, or is there something else? All right.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't think he can do anything about top left, especially considering that there's a Nidus back there. Like, you could just keep reinforcing that ramp over and over and over again. But we do see the Cow army already making its way out. It's 4-1 right now, soon to be 5-2, I imagine. And that's when things are going to start getting really dicey for the Protoss. And I do like what you mentioned earlier. I mean, well, what Sari mentioned about the natural gas. Well, first, let's
Yeah.
see this engagement. Very Dragoon heavy against a lot of Ultras is going to go very well for Protoss here. And they are slow Ultras, so they're going to be slow and running away. It's when you
Yeah.
combine this kind of composition with Swarm, that's what really punishes a composition like Elmaster's, which is so Dragoon heavy. So he needed the
Good choice to
Defiler
run
there.
away.
Yeah, it's a good
Good
choice to run away. If he had a Defiler here with this, there would be no way that Elmaster could poke in. But with no Defiler here, there is a chance. I mean, if he burrows these Lurkers, there's a chance that it might work. Ooh. Getting all the Zealots like fighting out there, away from the Dragoons, really cut his army in half in this case.
It looks like there's another drop going.
Ooh, this is a really
In
big
the
drop,
meantime.
actually. Yeah, again, I don't think he's leading with the Overlords that have Lings in them, which I don't think is a great move. And he could have shift moved them around the cannons that are in the natural, but this drop is going to be absolutely massive for him. And wow, he cleans up the army at the front, and this massive drop is going to kill all the infrastructure for Elmaster. This is going to be a huge pickup for him.
Yeah, absolutely. There's
Very
very
nicely
little
done.
to stop this right now.
Yeah, I like the fact that Elmaster had a Templar here. It might have been by accident, but he needed way more in the main base to make this to make this hold out. I think he was too busy microing, so he didn't even have any reinforcement units. And
Yeah.
wow. But back to what I was saying earlier, and what Sari said is the natural gas is so important. I clicked on it earlier when the Nexus went down. There's enough gas for 10 Templar here. So 10 Templar is 5 Archons, which against cows is very important. But yeah, unfortunately for Python though, he's still not gonna be able to bust this natural. I really like these gateways that Elmaster put here. Not just because it means that he's not going to end up with 0 gateways at this moment, which was a possibility. It's also because they work as an amazing funnel for any Zerg forces coming in. Yep, watch Storm and Reaver. Like, that's almost as like looking at this, I really feel Zerg's pain. Like, there's nothing you can do about this base. This base is staying.
So Elmaster saying like he felt like he wasn't aware of the army movement. Like he has that zealot at 12, he has that obs, but did the overlords kind of slip by in between? Or was it maybe like you could see them on the mini map, but there was like that main attack that was happening.
Yeah, I think it was
where he lost focus.
I think it was mostly because he was being pressed by that attack, being disadvantaged in the attack as well, especially. But that is a good point. Elmaster, like what you can do is keep like a probe. You can actually just leave a probe in the middle of the map, and it will see when the armies are traveling by. But the way that this obs is positioned now, that's the kind of what you should be going for. I like having obs around the map to track Zerg's movements, because the way he was running around with his army, it was great. It was worked as a good way to control the middle. But every time he strayed too far to one side of the map, like when he was walking up at the north between, I'm not gonna say those. I'm just gonna show it on stream. When he was walking up here, the Zerg would be able to get out on the south side out of the main. So instead of walking, like in patterns like this, as I'm showing on the stream now, I would walk around like this, so you're constantly keeping the Zerg army from uniting and moving out. And keeping obs here, 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 obviously here, and here. Those are really good ways to stay on top of what Zerg is doing or trying to achieve. So
yeah, like I mean, Elmaster's lost his marauding army. I'm thinking about like that attack on the top left, on his 5th, right?
Yeah.
That was a big advantage for Python there, winning that.
Absolutely.
So what's like, could he have taken middle and kind of held that defensively?
Yeah, that's actually really a good point, because middle is becoming a popular option on Fighting Spirits. People sometimes even take it as their 4th because it's such a short walking distance. It gives you 2 gases, 2 mineral line, well, 2 halves of a mineral line more or less, but ultimately you can think of it as being like, a really nice fat base to take, and especially when you start having Reavers, it doesn't really matter if Zerg is going to come from both sides or not. With Reavers in the middle, it's going to be just as well defended as the Elmaster's current 4th base is. So the center was definitely an option, and it also prevents Zerg from just, being able to move around the map as freely, because there's a chance that
It doesn't seem, like I like it because like you have central control, and it seemed like when Elmaster was moving around with his large army in the middle, that it was a good position for him.
Yeah.
Right?
It was
and
definitely an
if
option.
if Zerg has to come onto you, the storms are easier, I think, than as an aggressive storm. So that's kind of nice as a tactical advantage. I don't know if I'm right on that or not, but that's kind of the way it feels.
No, you're absolutely right. And like I said, some I've seen recently, like by recently I mean like first time I seen it was maybe like a month or 2 ago, is when people started taking the 4th base in the center. That's like something that people really didn't, I think didn't do at all in the years prior. But I really like this play from Python. He's really just going to try to take all the bases before Paraz does, and by putting lurkers up here, and even if he doesn't manage to hold on to this base, but actually he does. I mean, he left enough here to allow his relatively quickly moving army.
Such an uphill battle now, you know? Like that, losing that main army there has now a ripple effect, I think.
Absolutely.
And maybe it was part with Nat not being able to reinforce as much, maybe. But yeah, like there was a ripple effect after that, losing that army. So like, did he misconstrue that attack? Because
Yeah,
now Python's got control of the map.
yeah. I mean, it was a two-part effect. I think that he had no business going into there the way that he did. He sent all of his zealots up and into the engagement where they were fighting pretty much unsupported against lurkers. I'm sorry, not lurkers, ultralisks and zerglings, which is a bad
Yeah.
matchup for zealots. And then all the dragoons were stuck on the bridge. And so the
Mm.
army wasn't really very cohesive in its engagement, so that's what contributed to his loss there. And then that massive drop that killed all his gateways really prevented him from remaxing very quickly. And in that window, Python really just managed to gain a lot of
Yeah.
control in this match. So that was really, I mean, it's both Elmaster made a slight mistake, but it's also very much that Python did a really, really strong play.
Yeah. That drop was very strong, I think, and maybe that attack needs to be dialed back a little bit and kind of reconsider. When he decided to pull back to defensive position.
Yeah, and the other option also in that case was that when you see that all 20 cows and all the lings and all the lurkers are at this choke point, right? That means that most likely his third base only like it has only 2 lurkers here and 1 sunken, right? His natural has 1 Nidus Canal, 1 Spore Colony, and a couple lings at this point. And at that point, it was probably something similar. He probably did not have all that much there. So fighting where your enemy is strongest, it was not the best choice for Elmaster, I think.
Right.
But yeah,
I
also,
agree.
also,
And
also
that was a big advantage point for him at that point. And throughout a lot of the mid game was having the army moving around and keeping Python in check. But once he lost that, there
Yeah.
was no more check.
Also, it should be noted that I mean, Elmaster has the mechanics for it. I know he does. I mean, he's right now averaging 256 APM in a 30-minute game, and he just didn't use that to any of his advantage. I mean, he ran around the army, he ran around the bases. I'm sorry, he ran around the middle, but he never did any harass whatsoever with shuttles. He
Yep.
was late in taking his bases, something that he could have done using his APM. So I really feel
Storm
like he must have,
storm drops feel like a large investment, like APM wise, right? And even
it's really
gas
not, though.
wise and this.
It's really not, though. It's honestly, it's like 5 clicks. It's unload on the shuttle, drag drop your Templar, press storm, get the magic box, and then load them back into the shuttle and run away. So it's like 5 or 6 clicks, and it's very quickly done. And same thing with DT drops. You really just unload them and then send them in the main and then target fire one building. Like, it's something that
You say that, but you're looking after your army the whole time too, and you're looking after your macro, right? You're like,
I mean, that's what I'm saying. The army, you can stop dancing around for a little bit, or you can do what I call pre-programming. Like if he's running around the center of the map, you do 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A, 5A to the ramp to the ramp outside the other Zerg natural, right? While they're moving up there, it's gonna be like 5 or 6 seconds. That's when you load up your shuttle, right? Then you do 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A, 5A the other way. Then you do macro, and then you send your shuttle. So you kind of pre-program like these little windows of action for yourself. And I just want to point out that Python did a really good move here. That's a very common thing that I see Zergs doing nowadays is transitioning into Guardians in the late game, which forces Protoss to invest a lot into Corsairs, or if they don't have Corsairs, they could potentially lose a base. So Elmaster did have the Corsairs available. Did you just leave? What happened? Did you disconnect? Dang. Well, anyway, back to what I was saying. Elmaster, he had the Sayers, but as a result, it takes pressure out of his army. But this props to both players for doing the smart play there. Both having the Sayers and for going for the Guardians. That was a good play from both sides. Ooh, yeah, but now Elmaster is really tough pickle here. See, I feel like also, I mean, Elmaster got the robotics at a decent time, but if he had more robotics, like I like to have a robotics in the main producing Reavers and shuttles, at the third producing Reavers and shuttles. Like this robotics, I don't think it built any Reavers or shuttles whatsoever. I think this probe that built this robotics has not moved from this point. And having these 2 robotics, yeah, it's nice, but I like to have them a little bit more spread out. Helps you defend more surface area, and gives you more imperative to make shuttles and harass with them and such. But wow, Elmaster is on 10,000 minerals though. That's absolutely nutty. But Python's not exactly. I mean, Python's on 14,000 minerals. Holy shit. Yeah, but
yo, can you hear me?
Yeah, what's up? What happened? Hello? Hello?
Can't hear shit right now. One sec.
Okay. I can hear you. Oh my god. This is I mean, Python just beating down on him. So brutal. There's nothing Elmaster can do here. I mean, even with 10,000 minerals, he's gonna run out of gas first, and that's GG. Wow, what a tremendous game. Whew. Very nicely done by Python. That was top notch. Top notch play. I mean, Elmaster played very well too, so.
Yo,
What up?
check, check.
Check, check for the microphone check. Can you hear me? Mm, okay, he hung up on me, so I'm gonna call him back. I wonder, is it you? Maybe you guys can't hear me? Can the stream hear me?
The person whom you're trying to reach is currently unavailable. Please leave a message after the beep.
Um, uh, yeah. So okay, good. All right. So as long as stream can hear me, that's great. Um, hopefully, Alex Pineda. Oh fuck! I keep saying his name out loud like an idiot. Hopefully, he calls me back soon. Anyway, what's there to say about that game? I mean, I think I discussed most of it in the pause that Python. I'm sorry, that Dark Matter asked for. I pretty much addressed everything that I think Elmaster could have done better in that game. Now let's talk about Python. I do think that he was floating quite too many minerals on 4 bases in the mid game. I feel like if he threw down maybe 3 or 4 macro hatcheries at his fourth, not only would he have an easier time of reclaiming his well, not reclaiming, but claiming his fifth base on the low ground, he would have also been able to have an army that matches Elmaster's much earlier in the game. Other than that, I really liked Python's play overall. The I feel like as soon as he recognized that he couldn't continue pressuring the bottom right base of Elmaster, he stopped doing it, which was a good play. I like the fact that he would expand with his advantage. Like after the drop, he took his fifth, and then after he, I think he won an engagement, he took 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock simultaneously. That's exactly the kind of stuff that you want to see that allows you to stay ahead in a match like that. Now, I'm just going to reiterate really importantly that I think Elmaster could have been way ahead in that game if he took his fourth and fifth at the natural and main at the bottom right much sooner. And if he took 12 o'clock as well, 12 o'clock would have been absolutely crucial for him to take because it would give him a huge advantage in going into the map split situation because he would be technically mining from the Zerg side of the map because Zerg was at top left and bottom left, and that 12 o'clock belongs to top left. So if you set up a base there with Reavers and you know chokes and DTs on the ramps and Templars, those bases are actually a lot easier to hold, in my opinion, than the natural at bottom right. So if he had taken 12 and I guess 4 simultaneously and then taken 5 immediately afterwards, then he would be in an amazing spot. And it would kind of force the Zerg to take a little bit of a out the ways base in 6 o'clock as well. So yeah, I think that there's a lot that Elmaster could have done better there, but ultimately Python played very well. Okay, so Dark Matter BW saying something disconnected. Fuck, my headphones are not behaving. Okay. All right. So I'll give Dark Matter another minute or two to sort it out. And worst case scenario, I'll just do the next game. I'm gonna restart stream. PC. Okay. Um, I'll just do the next game. Or I'll get through some of the next game. I know I just broke up right there. I'm just gonna get through some of the next game. Uh, and I'm gonna tell, hopefully, I'm gonna tell Dark Matter to go ahead with GT2. Okay, Dark Matter, just PM me on IC Cup when you get back. All right, so that way we can, we can probably just fast forward through the game, uh, like to the point where I'm at once we finish it, once Dark Matter comes back. But that also means that you're gonna hear me solo casting something that I don't think I've ever done actually. So wish me luck. And the top right we have the purple Zerg Python, and in the top left we have the white Protoss Elmaster. Uh, so this time, I'm okay. So this is something that I don't agree with here from Elmaster. He's going to scout horizontally. In this case, I always want to scout here first to check for the Overlord that's coming from the south. And there's two reasons for that. First of all, you get to find out whether Zerg is here or not much sooner if you scout here. And if you find that there's no Overlord here, what you do is you just send the probe from there directly to this main. And the other reason why is if the Zerg is scouting you, is going to scout you first from down here, they're going to find you first because they're traveling to the nearest natural. You want to find Zerg first also. You don't want Zerg to know where you are without knowing where Zerg is and what Zerg is doing. So in general, I mean, it's going to work out this time just because of the way it works out, but it's not because Eldmaster did something right, it's because he got lucky. So all right, let's see how this game goes now. So yeah, Python, as I said, he's scouting in the clockwise direction. Protoss, I think, should always scout in the counterclockwise direction on Fighting Spirit. We are going to see an overpool and a proper forge response from Elmaster. Now, with this probe, honestly, what I like to do is you can just mine this mineral. But by the time you do the trip back, you drop off that mineral, and then by the time you come back here, you can decide whether or not you're going to build cannons or if you're going to go for that nexus. That's just a little trick that makes it a little bit less APM intensive and make sure that you're there on time. So another thing that's good thing. Wait, what happened to my music? Yeah, I was wondering about that. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so I like what Python did here. He sent 2 drones. Usually what you do is you use the 2 drones to make sure that you can get the hatchery down by attacking the probe. And then you send the other drone to scout once you throw down the hatchery. And that's exactly what he did. He found out exactly where Elmaster is. He saw that the cannon was thrown down. He knows that in order to do anything about it being just a 1 cannon, he would have to commit extra Lings, but he doesn't. He makes 2 Zerglings. Same as last game, very economically oriented, very safe against gateway openings. So very nicely done by Python again here. From Elmaster, yeah, we should see the gateway. Next we see the gas, and then the pylon. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Yeah, so we should see the gas. Gas is late. And is he gonna go pylon first? Actually, no. Yeah, pylon first. Okay, I don't agree with this, especially if you're going forge gate. He could have afforded to do the gas and then the pylon, get his tech rolling a lot sooner. And he's gonna get the gas now. But yeah, it's gonna be gas pylon is usually the way it goes. And if he had done it at the appropriate time, I don't think he would have had to cut probes too much. Yeah, it was just because he was a little bit late. That's why he's gonna end up losing probe production for just a second there. But in the meantime, Python going for a very standard, same thing as he did last game, taking the near third. Most likely gonna go for a Hydralisk heavy composition again. Especially since we don't see any gas. We see the 4th hatch down. So this might actually be 5 hatch before gas here. Something that was popularized on IC Cup, at least by IC Cup None, but done by Koreans quite a few years ago. So we should see the drone actually. You want to have the drone already traveling to make the hatchery at this point. But it looks like he is going to get the gas before the 5th hatch. I mean, it's not too big of a deal. The cybernetics core is up. We should see the Stargate shortly. And see, this is what I'm talking about. I think, does he have 3? No, yeah. Even if he did have, sorry, excuse me. Even if he did have all 3 probes on gas, his cybernetics core is delayed simply because of the fact that he went for pylon before gas. And he's actually getting +1 before cyber, which I guess in this case definitely has its merits. I mean, he's scouting around. He sees that gas has been late, so he doesn't actually need cybernetics core for quite some time. He might even go Citadel before. I'm sorry. Stargate is not necessary at this time. He might even go for Citadel before Stargate, which I think would be a smart play here. So let's see what he goes for. Actually, no tech at all yet, which I don't agree with. I think Citadel should have been started quite some time ago, and it does look like Citadel is up. Sorry, Ian Zerg. Oh wait, I can't D&D because Dark Matter's coming. Anyway, yeah. So pretty much we're seeing a kind of a repeat of last game, but this time it looks like Elmaster is not going to invest in that those early sayers that I didn't like from last game. He sees that there's no layer coming yet either with his probe. Very nice control from Elmaster here, but the probe does eventually go down. But we still should be expecting to see the layer sometime soon. He does have the 5 hatcheries up. Let's see if the layer is starting. No, he's going to make Hydralisks apparently. Nope. Yeah, Hydra speed first. and not a bad choice. I mean, especially if you know that your opponent is going for a heavy Zealot composition. This Overlord here, definitely would have liked to see him use it to scout the base more. Just dancing around, you know, like scout this way, see if when the Stargate timing is, see when the Templar timing is, see what the gateway count is. That's what this Overlord's here for, especially if there's no Sayer. I mean, that's really a big boon for the Protoss player. Now let's compare the speed to up +1 time. It's actually going to be quite comparable. So maybe yeah, that's why he got +1 instead of the Stargate, because he had the probe alive and the Zerg base, so good stuff there. Now, are we still not seeing a layer from Python? Yeah, he looks like he's just going to go for a very heavy Hydralisk composition, which kind of makes sense considering he's aware of the lateness of the Stargate, and his Overlord is going to scout that now. So we are going to see a heavy Zealot composition from Elmaster. Moving out a little bit before +1. I guess it's just to scare off the Lynx so it doesn't like show his hand completely, doesn't show his actual Zealot count. But actually, I mean, he's got supply blocked at a really crucial time. Right now, all 4 of these gateways need to be pumping Zealots. So by being so far behind, I'm not being so far behind, excuse me, by being late on his pylon, he's actually hampering his ability to do damage. And wow, this is actually a really lovely position from Python, using the Lynx here and the Hydralisk behind him for a nice SimCity. I think that Elmaster rushed in a little bit too aggressively. I mean, he didn't even have +1, so the Lynx took an extra hit to kill. That's what really contributed to him messing up that attack, and especially the lateness of the Zealots. No rally on the Zealots either. I know it's asking for a lot, especially in like a very micro-intensive situation, but with 300 APM, I feel like he could have afforded to do that. And now he's forced to throw down a cannon. Zealots are going to come out, but I think the Zealot count that he has now is going to be capable of holding this without a problem. Meanwhile, we do see the Spire from Python. Let's see this engage. Yeah, nice surround there. This feels like micro tourney. You see engages like this all the time in micro tourney, one of the levels. I do feel like considering what Python is kind of going for here, he couldn't afford to throw down the 6 hatchery, go for that effort style of macro. And one thing to know is clearly there must have been some mistake in macro going up to this. I think it maybe is because of his supply block, but if you look, I think he had 3 eggs here, 3 eggs here, 3 eggs here, 2 eggs here. So clearly there was a little lapse in macro at some point. It's something that Python would do well to keep in mind, because even when you're microing Hydralisks, you can do 3 SH, 4 SH, 5 SH, 6 SH, done, boom. Or like you input a command, 3 SH, input a command, 2 SH, input a command, 3 SH, or 5 SD, 4 SD, whatever your hotkeys are. It's like 1, pull back, 2 SD, or whatever, 3 SD, 1, attack, 4 SD, 1, pull back, 5 SD. So you kind of have to train a little rhythm in yourself, especially with Zerg, especially in the early game, to continue macroing when you're having these engagements against Speed Lots, Templar. But other than that, he's playing very well. 2 Sayer out. I'm not really sure what the point of them is, because they're not really doing anything and there's no Spire up yet. I mean, they could be doing something here, definitely more than what they are doing. But they need to, I think the more important thing for them to do would be to scout. Here's the 6th hatchery that I wanted Python to make. Very good play by him here. And surprisingly enough, no +2 coming out of Elmaster yet. Oh, look at that. Look at that, I know my boy. He was definitely a little bit late on that. You want to start your +2 almost as fast as you possibly can. I think he probably was waiting for the Templar Archives to finish, but now he's in kind of an unfortunate position where he got contained, even though he's going for a very heavy gateway composition. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. I talked about earlier, is that 8 gate to secure the mid game position. But this getting outranged here is going to be really brutal for him. I mean, losing that gateway is not that big of a deal, especially since he's going up to 8, but he wants to keep that Forge alive. I would also, just in case, Python is going to be moving up to a very high Hydra count. I would just place a pylon here, just to be extra safe. But yeah, he absolutely does not want to lose this Forge at this point. I wonder if he's going to make one in his main base to make up for it. Nope, he's going to be robotics. Decent choice. Meanwhile, Python, looks like he's been keeping up with the macro quite decently actually throughout this. And Elmaster moves out. Scares off the army. Now he's going to have a lot of mid-game, middle of the map control. It looks like Python actually doesn't have Lurker upgrade yet, which is, I think, a big mistake here. I mean, this army is getting quite hefty. It could actually bust down this natural if he's not careful. And okay, he does have the Lurker upgrade. It's just a little bit late. Let's see where the robotics is at. Robotics is almost done. I really feel like he would have been in a better position. Elmaster would have been in a good position if he kept scouting with his Sair and trying to pick off some overlords while doing all of that, while managing the situation in his natural. But what can you say? It's too late to think about now, and the lurkers are going to finish in time and completely deny any aggression out of Elmaster here. Ooh, actually, I mean, if they burrow very tightly, then he might be able to storm them all. But with 4 there, and this one not eating the brunt of it, yeah, he's gonna be forced to pull back. And the observatory does go down. And this is exactly the time where I feel like Elmaster should be double expanding. Like, that's that moment, right here. Right when he was pushing up here, that's when I would send a Zealot and a Probe to this base, and a Zealot and a Probe to this base. Take the 3 o'clock, and take my 4th right here, and set myself up for a nice late game. Instead, I mean, he does need the Dragoons, because if the Protoss does, I mean, if the enemy does move out with the Lurkers, he needs some way to handle it, and he needs the Observers. But this is exactly the moment when he has a nice juicy little bankroll, 400 minerals, that would give him more than enough time to throw down a Nexus here and a pylon at each base as well. So I feel like Elmaster is missing an opportunity to expand here, and this lurker, actually, yeah, this lurker was very nicely done by Python. Python had the same thought I did, like, this is the time when the Protoss is probably thinking about taking their 3rd, so this is a great play from him here. And the fact that Elmaster sent his whole army to clear that out as well gives Python the opportunity to move out. So let's talk about overreactions here. Overreactions are very typical at the lower levels of play, where you send your whole entire army to deflect one shuttle or to deflect one lurker. And overreactions, the thing with them is that when they're predicted by the opponent, or when they're at least taken advantage of, that's when you really start feeling the sting of the mistake that you made. So in this case, Elmaster, because he expanded quote-unquote late, he didn't take the opportunity to expand when he had the chance by sending a Probe and a Zealot here. The lurker managed to get up in here and effectively deny his expansion. Now, because of the fact that he overreacted to the lurker being here, he sent his whole army out here. He pretty much removed any presence he had on the map, and Python was able to move out on the map with his lurkers before the first obs made it to the natural. So it was kind of a two-pronged, two little mistakes, but Elmaster made the difference between Elmaster being in a great position to being in an like okay, but not fatal position, but a much worse position. Losing that Templar, not very great. Definitely, Python might have overextended here, but he did get the lurker down before the obs is here, so it's still going to be slightly annoying for Elmaster, but his armory is so huge that he probably won't struggle too hard with it. And the absence of Scourge here are going to make it difficult for Python to hold this tenuous position. Not the greatest storm here. Killed, I think, as many Zealots as it did Lings, more or less. But it is going to force Python back, and Python actually does not have very much left at his natural. But see, again, this is the moment where if I was Elmaster, I would double expand. I mean, he should definitely try to push his advantage, but at the same time, you need to expand, and it seems like that's what he's doing. He's sending the Dragoons and the Overlord, sorry, Dragoons and the Observer there, which is a good move by him. Now, here, it's very clear to me nowadays when the Protoss is doing 1A, 2A, 3A. In a situation like this, you want your a group of I like to group my Dragoons with like 1 or 2 High Templar, and use that as my forward pushing army. Well, Dragoons and an Observer, and use that as the forward pushing army, and then keep all the Zealots like back here. So if some stuff does run up, you can just pull back with the Dragoons and start kiting the stuff that's coming at you. If there's a ton of stuff coming at you, you send the boys and you send the Zealots in to take care of it. But when it comes to busting Sunken, Spore, Hydra, Lurker, Dragoons will do just fine, and the Templar to back it up would be more than enough. Throwing these Zealots in here, I mean, he got lucky, he killed the Lurkers before the Zealots came in, but in general, that's how a lot of Protoss attacks fail, and that's how his attack failed in the previous game as well, if you guys remember. So, looks like he does clear out this base. He should be sending a probe to make a Nexus there, and I would love to see him make this Nexus here at the same time, but considering the sheer amount of stuff that he has outside the base of Python here, it's going to be very hard for Python to hold going forward. And maybe Python messed up on his macro somewhere too, because I mean, he does again have a lot of eggs here, a lot of money. Or maybe he just overdroned, but either way, this is going to be pretty much a fatal push against Python here. Oh, but here he does have Hive. The crackling speed is coming up. I don't think it's going to matter much at this point. Yeah, he's not going to be able to produce enough, because once the Protoss army camps right under the eggs, the Lings are going to come out and die instantly. So, yeah, well played by Elmaster. I see that at 12 o'clock he did take that third Nexus. But overall, yeah, I would say that Python, the major mistake there was maybe overextending a little bit. He kind of ran in a single file line. I would like to see him move his whole army as a cohesive unit to that location. I would have liked to see some Scourge with that army as well, because Elmaster just got his first obs out. If you snipe that obs, it makes it much easier to hold on to that position that he was trying to take. And nice play putting the Lurker up there, but that's really only possible because Elmaster didn't clear that space out with his rallied units and didn't think about taking his third and fourth when I think it would have been a good time for him to do so. See, the 8 gate thing, when you go for 8 gates, you have a lot of army. And what a lot of army affords you is map control. And what map control affords you is the ability to expand. So don't conceptually limit yourself to expanding just once, of taking just one extra base. I'm gonna alt tab. Think about it in a way that you can actually take 2 bases. Okay, why is Zerg's macro so bad? He added the 6th gate kind of late. I mean, 6th hatch kind of late, and he put I mean, his macro was bad earlier in the game at a few points. I think he got supply blocked, but overall, Python's macro was actually type of decent. Like, I didn't really see an excess amount of larva at any point. Just lost a lot of army towards the end there. Anyway, so it looks like Dark Matter finally got it. So call me baby. I'm gonna message him. Call me baby. I'm going to put a mark for Elmaster. And wow, this is turning out to be like, an epic series. Like, I don't think we've seen so many 2-1s ever. I thought that those were anti-spoiler replays when they got sent to me. Getting a phone call from my boo. What's up?
Yo, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Holy smokes! Thank God.
What happened?
Yeah, that was so weird. I don't know. Somehow the device volume got like to 0,
Uh-huh.
and I can access the volume through regular controls. I had to like go through some system stuff. I don't
Shit.
really know what happened. It was my fault, most likely.
Yeah, it's okay. Were you watching the stream?
Yeah, I was. You did a great job, man. You didn't even need me.
Thanks. I mean, I feel like when you get me started, like I just don't shut up. I just keep talking and talking and talking and talking. So like being solo has that advantage because there's no one really. I'm not really talking over
I can
anybody
stop you.
else, but it's also kind of a little bit exhausting too.
Yeah, I
Uh,
hear that.
all right, so yeah, but let's move on to the last game now. It's gonna be Elmaster versus Python. It is gonna be actually it's funny to notice. Oh, God damn it! I'm not gonna fall for it this. I'm not gonna fall for it this time. I'm gonna close the window before I get in Brood War. Close. You can still hear me?
Yep.
Sweet. All right, so yeah, Elmaster and Python. I keep forgetting not to talk in alt tab. And God damn it, my shit went to window mode anyway. Fuck, fuck, fuck. God damn it. Okay, it's cool. I'm a calm person. It's cool.
I'm not. I was so angry. Like, and this stupid Windows, like, it's like don't shut your computer off updating, right? I fucking
Yeah.
shut it. I shut it off.
Oh no, that's risky, dude. I mean, what if it was doing something with your registry, bro? You come back, you don't have broodware anymore.
Oh man. Broodware is so easy to install. I wouldn't worry about it.
What if it messes up your broodware forever? Like you can't install it because it's somewhere deep in the registry somehow messed up. Like computers do crazy stuff, man.
I'd
Like
be
I
on
was
the
saying earlier.
street. I'd be on the street with my fucking tower smashing it in the middle of the road.
True. All right. Well, I'm gonna host up the last game now. It's gonna be Elmaster Python, and it's gonna be on Circuit Breaker. So, just a quick note for everyone that's watching who's a player in this league: please do not repeat maps in your series. Since now I think this is the second time in 2 weeks I've seen it.
Yeah, it shouldn't happen.
Yeah, it's not a big deal, but it's kind of a deal. You know what I mean? Like it's removing a card from the other person's repertoire in a sense. Like if someone does a counter build, or
Well,
how
like I mean, what's the point of having a map pool, right? That's the best way to put it.
yeah.
What's the point of having a map pool if you can repeat?
Yeah, and our mission
Like
is to
Spirit.
educate people, and educating people in Brood War means not only learning how to play on FS and CB, it's also being familiar with all sorts of maps and all the ins and outs of maps that are, Destination is still relatively popular, right? And some of the other maps, they kind of develop the way you think about the game because of their terrain features, the strategies that
Yep.
are popular on them. So we're not just trying to teach you how to win on Fighting Spirit, because if we did that, I could just stream myself doing Drone Rush every game and getting like 50% to C minus. That's not what we're going for here. But enough admonishing people. Let's get into the
I'd
last
love to
kind of
see
game.
that.
Yeah, I was writing up a strategy guide post that was kind of trolly because like who does drone rush? But well, I do, and I perfected it. I think I had a 66% win rate to C minus with Drone Rush.
Damn.
All right.
I'm actually envious. Okay.
All right, excuse me. Anyway, moving up to Circuit Breaker, let's go.
Yeah, Fighting Spirit's awesome because like you can learn so much about the game in a standard setting and a pretty well balanced setting.
Hmm.
But playing other maps changes a lot, and it's a lot of fun.
Absolutely. And I mean, sometimes people have a lot of success because they know strategies on these alternate maps. You know, like cheesy, all-in, one-off builds. I mean, if
Hmm.
if you that's not the thing that you like. If you like just playing the same game over and over and over again, then yeah, like go practice on FS. But that's not what everyone wants, and I don't think that should be what everyone wants. I feel like once you start experiencing other maps and other strategies, and seeing that's when you start seeing the true beauty of this game. It's the flexibility of it.
Yep. But people don't like that as well because it feels a little bit unfair.
True.
Say someone's prepared a lot on Destination,
Hmm.
and you've played like 3 games total,
Yeah.
then you don't really feel like it's a fair match.
True, but if you think about the way competitive Brood War is, there was a lot of best of ones, especially in team leagues like Shinhan Pro League, right? It was all like the times when
Yeah.
the greatest players got sniped by someone like who was it? It was Jaedong who got sniped by Reality
Harang
doing
too.
Harang too. Jaedong got sniped by Reality with like that proxy Rax, proxy Fac into Starport build, and that was just like one of the greatest games of all time because it was Reality, like who the fuck are you? And then against
I don't think
Jaedong,
I've seen that.
yeah, it's a great game, exactly. So
I want to see it.
yeah, look it up. I think it is Reality vs. Jaegon. I think it was on map. It was like like a installation type tile set. Like I don't think it was Benzene. I think it was something similar though. Anyway,
I like Benzene.
one second. I have to cough again.
Okay.
All right. So we do see Gateway first from Elmaster this time, and he is on the bottom left as the brown Protoss.
Okay. I'll introduce Paisan, my teammate on Dragon Herb, bottom right, as the purple Zerg.
And he is going overpool, which, as we said earlier, the reason why Zergs do this is because it's safer against the gateway. I mean, the gateway first. It helps against it at least. Um, and we're seeing 2-gate from Elmaster. Now this is questionable, like this, especially in the way that he placed these 2 gateways. I don't think I like this honestly very much at all. I think the 1 gateway would have been a good enough build for him in this case. And let's see, 15 pylon, go, good, okay, 15 pylons out, and let's see, 16 probe. Generally, with 2-gate, even if you go for forward gate, what you can do is you can go. Oh, but he scouted earlier with the probe because it's PvZ, so that's why he has to cut probes now. All right, sorry, a little monologue with myself aside. He's doing everything
I'm
correctly.
so confused right now.
No, I was thinking to myself that you can after going 2-gate, after you make the first zealot, you're at 15 out of 17 supply. You can actually make 2 probes, and then you make the zealots number 2 and 3 when the pylon finishes. But because of the fact that he sent the probe out early, because it's PVZ, so he was kind of he had less money, and therefore his pylon came up later than it should have. That's why
Yeah.
he cut the other extra 2 probes that you can make, because he couldn't in this case. He made the zealot instead.
So it's just nullified completely.
Is 2-gate gonna get beat right now? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
If he continues to make Zerglings, and he has speed started already, speed is pretty much the bane of any 2-gate build. It becomes really pretty much a lot of pressure on the Protoss to continuously do damage, but also not to let too many Zerglings slip by. And the fact that the 2 gateways are out in the natural means that it's going to be almost impossible for him to produce enough Zealots to both hold the ramp, to do any damage, and to prevent the pylon from getting sniped. So this is a really, really tough situation for Elmaster here that he really honestly just put himself into.
Yeah, so I mean, I think maybe this had success on like a 12 hatch play, and considering CB is a larger map, maybe 12 hatch is more common.
Yeah, honestly though, I feel like 2-gate is actually difficult to pull off against 12 hatch also. The reason being is because they get the extra larva so quickly. I think Overpool might actually be worse against 2-gate than 12 hatch is, but because of the fact that he opted to go for speed right afterwards, makes this a really good choice from Python. But I don't think I agree with him losing quite so many Zerglings here. I think he should have just cut his losses here, but he is actually continuing to invest in Zerglings here. Ooh, I don't like this move from Elmaster. He abandoned his defensive position. Python could just run in right now. Oh no, the Forge makes it much more difficult. Very nice throwdown from Elmaster here. It's going to be much harder now for Python to get in. So Python actually
Yeah,
now
this is a fight Python didn't have to take. You know,
exactly. Oh yeah.
he could. You don't have to reveal the number of lings you have.
And the way that he was engaging pretty much directly into Elmaster's Zealot wall, like the fact that Elmaster got it set up worked in his advantage, but Python had the opportunity to be trying to hit the gateways, force the Zealots to move off, and then once the speed hit, you can run into the hole that is created. And oh, he might actually have a hole here. He can run on. Yes, very nice.
That's nice.
Yes, very nice. I would have run right into the main base though of that. Actually, I mean, picking off the cannon is good too, but you could split your Zerglings in that situation. 3 and 3 would have been a good play here.
That's a lot of zealots, though.
Yeah, that is a lot of Zealots now, but the 3 Zerglings would have been enough to force the cancel on the cannons that had just started. And the other 3, because they're speed upgraded, they would be able to get into the main and do a hell of a lot of damage. Speedlings are hard to deal with even for Visu, and his side is main base, so I think that Python...
So we have 600. Sorry, we have 600 minerals from Python here.
Yeah.
So this could be better spent. There's the Overlord now. He's supply blocked with a 3rd hatch. So I mean, it's good progress, but the progress needs to be a little bit sharper with the Overlord, and he can be looking like sitting very, very pretty. He's already sitting pretty, but yeah, it's an interesting engage because he still feels threatened by this number of zealots. So it's a large amount of zealots for sure.
I mean, rightfully so. I mean, after losing quite that amount of Zerglings that he did, this could actually turn out really badly for him if he loses this engage here. I don't know if this is intentional the way he split these Zerglings, but it's going to be working out in his favor. It's going to make the Zealots kind of second guess their position here. And this, if he does a run by here, that could be actually really good. But we do have Zealots in position now. Very nice play from Elmaster here. Very nice. But oh man, I see. All right, so let's look at this moment right here. The Sunken Colony has just started. If Python did a great job of making Elmaster second guess himself and pull back with these Zealots, if the Zealots had just been on walk command to make to the natural of Python, instead of running around deciding what to do with those Zerglings, he would have been in that natural before these Sunkens even come up. Now that these Sunkens are on the way, the Zealots are not going to be as effective out here.
He could have even run up to the main almost, right?
Yeah.
And there's not the link count right now would not be able to handle that.
Absolutely. So this is a great example of how with just like 8 or 9 lings, Python really and without even engaging, he pretty much saved his ass, more or less. I mean, he's still not in the greatest of positions. I mean, 18 drones, not very drone heavy compared to 22 of Elmaster, which is not bad. He did spend a lot of larva on lings.
Yeah.
And the fact that his 3rd hatches and his natural, he needed to do it for the Sim City, but that means that his 3rd is going to be late against the 2 base Protoss. So.
And this goes back to like how you weren't happy about the engage that Python took. Like he lost a lot of lings there. Those could have been drones. He had to remake it because of this threat.
Yep. And then he had to throw down the two Sunken Colonies, which further cuts his drone count. But now Elmaster really, he doesn't have a way in anymore. The amount of Zerglings here is too much. I would love to see Python really go heavily into drones right now, considering he has a layer already up. And I mean, he has 2 gases.
It's not standard, right? So like they both have to read where they're at.
Yeah.
And it's kind of tricky right now.
Yeah. But,
I think it's pretty even.
Ooh, we're going for a drop upgrade from the Zerg. I was waiting for the Spire to get thrown down, but drop tech. I like this move a lot. This is exactly what Elmaster won't be ready for. I mean, he is going to have his first Sarah out relatively soon, but he's...
it's late tech.
Yeah, it's late tech, so drop is going to be very powerful here. And the fact that he invested so much early money on Zealots as well, and gateways and all the associate things, this drop is going to be devastating. There's only 2 gateways.
I'll be honest here. Like I watched this on Python's live stream when he was playing this.
Yeah.
So like I know exactly how this goes, but this is a good decision. It's again like it's a different type of game where it's a little bit non-standard. The tech is late, and I mean I think again Elmaster's doing a good job with moving this around in the middle. It's a strong force keeping Python honest.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, I think that Elmaster just, overcommitted there to his position. Python could have actually taken that engage a little bit better. He fought the Zealots head on when he really had no need to. You could have surrounded them and, come out with more Zerglings at the end of it. But honestly, Elmaster was at the point where he was really pushing his luck moving around the map like that with the amount of army that he had. And so drop is actually almost done, and we see the lurkers are actually ready, and the overlord the overlord that Elmaster thought about picking off in game 1, I believe it was, is now going to be his undoing because he didn't pick it off, because the lurkers are going to run up right up to it. And you almost can't fault Elmaster for this, because he did use the Sayer to do what it's meant to do, which is scout. But now that drop is done, these two lurkers are going to show up. This overlord is going to pick them up. And wow,
Yeah, it's a very strong move in this situation.
The Sayer is coming too. The Sayer is coming for that overlord. I think I mean, like, the Sayer had just a little bit of idle time, so he missed the.
This is like the Bizu Shine game, isn't it?
Oh,
where the Sayer scouts that overlord right here on CB as well.
And it happened. I mean, it happened to Bisu multiple times. That's how he lost the infamous game against Yellow as well. I think he scouted the drop on time, but like it was not on time, but it was too late for him to do anything.
Yeah.
So now this is absolutely brutal for Elmaster. He was going for the same thing that he did last game, which is 6 gateways, get really quick what's called quick army count. But as a result, I mean, his robotics is pretty late, not to mention because of the fact that
it was a strong strategy last game, and Python didn't power enough drones and then go into heavy Muta or heavy Hydra or Lurker. Python kind of took a middle road where he's doing a lot of Hydra plus drone, so then it was kind of weakened on both sides. Yeah. So it was a very powerful timing attack from Elmaster.
I would love to.
In this case, he's not able to do it.
Yeah, I would have loved to seen actually. What's called Python use just one of these lurkers to go check what's going on at the natural, because if he did that, he would see that the robotics is easily cliffable from the cannons, and there was no cannons in the natural as well. So I think he had the opportunity to do even more with this. But now that this Nexus is going down, this is gonna be absolutely brutal for him. The other thing is too, like, I mean, he's right at the core of where all the technology is. If he had been sniping the pylon, which would prevent him, at least prevent Elmaster from getting the Templar Storm from his Templar Archives. Those are two things that he could have done. Like, he's already done a lot of damage. You could just eke out a little bit more juice out of it.
I agree. And like, yeah, sending that extra lurker down, I think would have been nice and informative for him. But it's I mean, I would do the same thing as Python. That's the problem, right? Like, I'm kind of, okay, I got this advantage. I want to hold on to it, right? I don't want to risk, say separating half my force, in this case it's one lurker, to test something. Whereas I could try to snipe the next right now.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. He wasn't even targeting the Nexus. I think one lurker was targeting the Nexus, one lurker was targeting the pylon. That's what I'm seeing increasingly more and more in these CPL games, is that people don't commit to one option or the other. They try to stand with, like, like 1 foot on one side and 1 foot on the other side, when it's more often than not better to just commit.
It's hard to decide.
Yeah.
And then you have to keep tabs. Like, it takes APM to kind of check, and the same with like a FD, right? Like Terran FD versus Protoss. You kind of want to check the HP of the goons and try to target the weak ones, and that takes APM. And the same thing, you want to test what's the Nexus at, what's this building at, and then kind of prioritize that way.
Yeah. So, getting back into this game a little bit more into the nitty-gritty, I mean, Elmaster took a massive blow there. He's down in supply. He's only at 30 probes. He lost his Nexus, has to rebuild it. He can't produce anything because he lost a lot of pylons. And actually, if he lost all of his tech to the Templar Archives, the Citadel. I mean, that's absolutely brutal for him. I mean, there's really, at this point, like, you would, I think Python, he's praying that Python makes a mistake at this point.
Yeah, this is a big winning situation right now. The contained solid. Like, to me, it looks like game. Like, it's. I'm not sure. I guess at this point, it's like, what weakness, what hole is Python allowing, right? He's got Hydra at the main. No Overlord at the main, so there's one big piece right there.
Yeah, it could be DT drop could do something. There's also because there's no Spire. I mean, Spire's coming up now. There's been no air control, so it means no Scourge. So that means observers, he could potentially have some time to bust out here. But it's also the problem is that he doesn't have he lost his Cybernetics core too, right? So that means no Dragoons. Yeah, so all right, I'm just gonna speed it up.
And he's got a good spread here. Yeah, sure, speed it up.
Yeah,
he's got a good spread. So it's just such a winning position right now.
Yeah.
So like 99% to Python right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing I think what Python could do though is honestly he could be droning right now. He's only at 36 drones on 4 bases. I don't think he absolutely needs the amount of lurkers, slings, and Hydra that he has, especially considering the fact that Elmaster is not going to be able to produce any sort of tech units for quite some time. So that means that he's not going to be able to bust out anytime soon. Getting Dragoons out of this base and trying to kill this container would be an absolute nightmare. You know, there's just so many things working against Elmaster that I think that Python could take the next step and just make some drones, which he just started doing now, but let's see what happens here. Okay. See, this is why I feel like Scourge and an Overlord here would have just really sealed the deal, like, because there's only one observer. That would have, and yeah, here's the Overlord. It's kind of slow. He could have had speed by now, could have had the Scourge by now. That's the only two things that I really have to detract from Python's play right now. And honestly, I mean, Elmaster could really just walk out right now. Using that little bridge on the side, he could just make a walk for it. And that would put him in a much easier position in terms of busting out of this, because he would be able to surround from the high ground behind it. So I think that's an option that Elmaster should explore. Oh, is there no range on these Dragoons? Oh my god,
Doesn't look like it.
Yeah, he's trying to bust out before range. Yeah, that might be what's holding him back. And I like this move from Python. Look, exactly what I was talking about just a second ago. He's like, he recognizes that the top bridge is the only place where his contain is vulnerable or / non-existent, so he covers it with Lings. Gives him enough time that if someone did try to go up there, he would be able to flank it from the place where his contain is strong. So very nice awareness from Python here.
Yeah. Like, yeah, this is where if you really want to kind of come back, it's like Rudy, you know, like you got to give it your all, you got to bleed. Like this is where you're doing like double drops, like just trying everything to screw up the opponent.
Yeah,
but it takes tons of effort.
If you think about it, actually the tech that Elmaster did have remaining to him is robotics facility. So if you think about it, instead of teching all the way back up to Templar, which I think he's doing now, he could have actually just gone for a Reaver and done Reaver drop or a Speed Shuttle, or at least drop Zealots in the main base, snipe some tech.
Well, the reason I say drop is because look at the mineral count, right? If he's pumping Zealots and shuttles, then he can try to like a multi-harass kind of thing, right?
Exactly. Dropping 4 Zealots at either one of these bases would have been, you know, a really good move for him. But unfortunately, I mean, obviously you have to understand the psychological element of it too. He's only worried about getting out, you know. But that's something that you have to keep in mind too, is that when you divert the attention of the Zerg away from the contain, it becomes much harder to maintain the contain. Why is this contain so strong? Is because Zerg will snipe the observer with Scourge as soon as possible. They'll move their Hydralisks forward and protect their lurkers. But as soon as you throw 4 Zealots into Zerg's main and just like leave them there, you don't even have to really micro them. You just leave them there. And then the Zerg is going to panic, and right when they start panicking, that's when you bust out. That's when the Zerg is going to have slower reaction time. That's when the Zerg is going to eat a fat storm and lose all their Hydralisks. So I definitely agree with you. I think that if he did something to divert the Zerg's attention, it would have been much more successful here.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing with the storm as you were talking there.
Nice storm, good storm, but oh, that's a massive amount of lurkers coming in there. That's not a good storm because it's only hitting 1. But I guess he's trying to do what he can. If he actually busts out here, that would be still impressive, you know.
Yeah, it's a solid effort.
And
it's just at this point the engine, economic engine, is so strong.
GGO, yeah.
And there it is.
Yeah, Python was finally starting to drone up. He was up to 54 drones. I mean, really solid play.
Shout out to my teammate from Python. That was a great job, great decision to do a drop there. That was definitely like a, I don't know, rope-a-dope or something like that. You know, kind of off-center attack.
Yeah,
that wasn't expected.
Absolutely, very nicely done by Python. Honestly, I think like the more I see him play, the more impressed I am. It's clear that he plays very intelligently. You know what I mean? Like that he knows a lot of stuff. It just feels like before, like his knowledge was lacking and his mechanics were lacking. But you see both of them are on the climb now. He's up to like, you know, 150, 160 APM in the later game. And I mean, he didn't really feel it. It felt like he was doing the running of circles around Elmaster, not the other way around. Elmaster really not using his mechanical advantage to his advantage in this case.
Well, I wouldn't be a proper gentleman without giving props to Elmaster either, of course. You know, like I think it was the 2-gate option there that just didn't connect with the strategy that was happening. So I think the 1 gate would be stronger
Yeah,
and
and less all in
maybe
too.
trying with that again 6 gate or 7 gate attack. That's a strong attack. I totally agree with that. But with the opening, that just set him back pretty far, especially on tech. And then obviously with that kind of follow up drop attack, you're defenseless, right?
Yeah, so I mean, overall, I would have to say that that was probably one of the better series I've seen in a while. I can safely give both these guys 4 stars each because I mean, Python for Python personally, like if the metric was what I expect from Python, I'd give him 5 stars. But
Hmm.
I feel like I still feel like there are some people who are like slightly better than him in the league, so I can't give him the full 5 stars. And also the second game, there was like some macro deficiencies here and there,
Yeah.
a little bit of a decision making flub and trying to set up that contain so quickly by sending his whole army in a stream. But overall, really solid play from Python. And Elemaster, I feel like he played really solid too. He was just missing that little extra oomph that would have definitely given him the advantage in game one. In game
Okay.
two, he really showed his strength there. He played that game almost like almost perfectly. I'd give him almost a 5 stars for that if he had just expanded earlier yet again. And then the third game is really just it was a really just a really strong play from Python that Elmaster did not expect. It was caught unawares, and so he didn't really get a chance to show his skill there, I would say. But I mean,
Yeah.
after opening with a relatively risky strategy like 2 gate and it not doing pretty much any damage, he managed to climb back to a decent position, and then he just lost it because he effectively got cheesed. There's really no way to scout a lurker drop, more or less.
Yeah, but it kind of it got again the opening kind of welcomed that opportunity where it's like, oh, okay, here's this opportunity where I'm able to move ahead on tech and do this kind of critical attack, right? But yeah, I think game one was the most exciting. I think just because it got to late game, and there was a lot of kind of different tactics move going on throughout the whole game. Drops, good army movements, forward attacks with swarm, forward attacks with storm.
Hmm.
So I think it was just a great series, a really really awesome series. I
Yeah,
enjoyed it.
absolutely. Both players played really well. All right, so that concludes our broadcast for today. I am gonna give you guys a quick